Welcome into a Monday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show right here from the undisclosed location, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Happy Monday morning to you. Full
Easter
house.
Monday.
Easter Monday. What a beautiful.
It doesn't have
Dude,
a
this
name.
weekend was absolute banner
Yeah.
weekend. I mean,
really
you
was.
could not
It
name
was
better weather
the
for a
most
3-day
beautiful.
stretch.
I can't.
Yeah.
I mean,
incredible.
Everybody's got a
was-
little pep today.
70 degrees, man.
so
It's the
pretty.
weather.
It may
Yeah.
put you in the mood,
You're not
bro.
wrong.
break.
Everybody had a good Easter weekend.
Seems
Lizzie
like
went
it.
back home
I went home, found
wearing the
myself-
leather jacket.
Yeah, I never got one actually. They got too easy to get, so I made my stand. The water boy got a letter jacket, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm out
Yeah.
on this thing.
Too easy.
Too easy.
Too accessible.
I mean, I can make a jug of water. That's how I got hired here.
That's exactly right. Don't you forget it.
Some high quality H2O.
Good Easter for the Alligoods.
Yeah,
How's the
it's
house?
good.
R&B builders.
Good.
Where
it's
are
so
we?
close. It's so
Can
close.
people start to use Red Bourgeois again? For God's sake.
Got him on retainer.
Rat's going to Disney World this week.
I bet he is. I bet he is.
It's almost there. It's
Compliments of
almost there.
David and Katie. Nikki, everything
Yeah.
good?
Up to Little Rock,
Little Rock.
hanging out at
Drive?
yeah, drove up.
How long? How far is that?
About 6 hours.
Is it
Oh,
really?
that's my
Nothing
driving limit.
crazy. Yeah, it was up in Little
That's
Rock.
about the limit.
That's
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
go. I don't
That's
go every 6
about the
hours.
limit.
Any longer than that, you start to get like, okay, like what am I doing?
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
But it's
You get angry.
You
Yeah.
hit like Monroe, and it's like, okay, I've got about 3 hours left, and if you're feeling good, you know, you got the good
Yeah.
vibes.
Right.
all you gotta do is catch a landmark. You're like, all right, I'm getting close.
Yeah.
You see something you know, you're like, all right, we're halfway.
You
there.
start like hitting those little Louisiana towns like Sicily Island and stuff, and like you get to like they kind of like Wisner and all that. They kind of like you're like,
Those
oh,
of
yeah.
you that
I've
don't
never
watch
heard of
yourself.
any of
Speed
those.
traps.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You gotta obey that speed limit to
Yeah,
the nut. Like you
absolutely.
can't go over at all.
Yeah, I mean that's how they pay their
How do you
bills.
know that though? What if you don't know that?
Well,
That's who they're waiting
find
on.
out.
That's who they're waiting.
Yeah.
They're waiting on you.
Yeah.
my girlfriend
I had
made
no
that drive
idea.
a lot, so it's
Oh,
like
okay.
she,
Good.
she,
Yeah, that's exactly
she gave me
right.
the heads up. She's like, hey, like you gotta slow down. Like this
That's
is not.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah.
Same
It's
thing
the
in
worst.
town. They got the speed traps there too on
Yeah.
the way.
New Orleans for your boy all weekend. Little Jay just back here, so it was a good weekend, man. Laid low. I could not imagine any better stretch of weather.
It's just
I
incredible.
mean, it was
Good games, good weather.
it was 70 degrees the entire time, and I think Lloyd said it best when he got here this morning. I mean, sports are back.
It just felt like it.
Masters week, Final Four, NFL drafts right around the corner. Weather's fantastic. LSU baseball. Oof.
Dude, if I'm
mean,
Well, just
I
don't
wondered where you
worry
were
about
going
that.
with that.
Just
Yeah.
like just look outside at the pretty sky.
Yeah.
if I'm coronavirus, I'm nervous.
If what?
If I'm coronavirus,
Yeah.
I'm nervous. We're coming for your ass.
First time in a long time, the Rona's the
Corona
underdog.
On the ropes, dude.
Yeah, Rona's the underdog right now.
Hope so.
It has been
Breaking a sweat.
for the first time in a long time. Daily, we're brought to you by Go Chevrolet. Remember, our coffee every day is brought to you by Majestic Coffee. Everybody that we talked to on the phone this morning is compliments of Metropolitan Health Group, real doctors, real solutions from Charlie Harvey, Jason Ramazan, and the crew over at Metropolitan Health. Got a good-looking crew today as we got Chris Reid stopping in this morning at 7:30. We mentioned the LSU baseball woes, and we'll talk to Chris Reid, former Tiger third baseman, standout for St. Michael High School right here in Baton Rouge. LSU going to be back in action versus McNeese on Tuesday night. They were swept over the weekend by Vanderbilt. I think a lot of people expected Vanderbilt to be better than LSU, but for 2 games, they just looked dominant over the Tigers. Tigers had their chance on Saturday, but 5-4 win after Jack Bulger, which is just an incredible baseball name.
It's
I mean,
really.
the first time I saw it on Thursday, I was like, Bulger.
Let's go.
Good
Hey,
Lord,
wasn't that
man.
like a crime guy's name though?
Was it?
That was Whitey
Whitey.
Bulger.
Yeah, Whitey Bulger.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's what it makes
Legally
me
right.
think of.
Illustrious
Talk about
Rams quarterback Mark Bulger.
Mark Bulger.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mark Bulger. A
there we
couple of
go.
Bulgers in here
Couple Bulgers.
around.
There's a few Bulgers in here.
That's right.
Couple
Bulgers
Bulgers.
everywhere.
Bulgers in here.
So we'll talk to Reed about LSU baseball coming up here as the Tigers are back versus McNeese on Tuesday night, 8:15 this morning or 8 o'clock this morning. We'll talk to Derek Stingley Sr. just like we do every Monday. LSU football continues their spring drills over the weekend. Then at 8:30, really looking forward to catching up with Mark Whitehead. Whitehead, a longtime Division I official, nearly 30 years on the whistle. 5 NCAA Final Fours, 18-year NCAA tournament regional official, has served as the commissioner of officiating for both the Sun Belt and the Southeastern Conference. Very well respected amongst officials. He can't answer any questions about specific coaches, but everything else is on the table.
Quite a resume.
Incredible resume. And he's from Denham Springs, Louisiana native. So we'll talk to Whitehead here at 8:30 this morning. Really looking forward to that as we will discuss some of the pressures of referees and officiating on this stage. And I guess that's where we can start. Is Saturday night. God bless you, listen.
Bless you, yeah.
Turn the mic off, but I feel like that
was good.
Traveled.
It probably
That would
carried.
traveled. I
Probably
tried
carried.
The finger under the nose trick. It's like a 1 out of 2. It works every now
I
and then.
don't know about that.
But we can start there, and you know what? You can almost start with officiating on Saturday night, because in regulation, indefinitely, one of the all-time tournament games, Gonzaga and UCLA. The ball is in the hands of Jusang late in the game. He has an incredible crossover move into which he leaves behind Jalen Suggs, the best player on the floor. A behind-the-back dribble creates more separation from a Gonzaga defender, and Jusang just runs right into the chest of Timmy, who Timmy steps in front of Jusang with 4 fouls. I mean, it could have been argued up to that point, and over the last couple of minutes of that stretch, that Timmy was the best player on the court. Drew Timmy for Gonzaga steps over on Jusang, where he's got 4 fouls, and takes one right in the chest outside of the restricted area with 2 seconds left on the clock, with UCLA staring down a game winner. And the whistle blows. Charge. What an incredible place to have to make a call if you're an official. I mean, if you're a coach, ask every coach, and we can ask Will Wade, we can ask John Brady, the college basketball coaches or coaches that we have access to that have made decisions on that level. What you're asking your team to do in that situation is put the game in the officials' hands. You really are. You want to put the pressure on the whistle to either make an and one call or put you at the free throw line with a chance to win the game. You don't want to take a 20-footer. You don't want to bail them out. You don't want to bail the defense out by coming out and taking a jump shot and not putting pressure on the defense. A lot like UCLA did in that moment. And for an official on that stage, in that moment, to blow his whistle and to make a charge call and never think about it, never thought twice, and it was by the letter of the law. I mean, it was an absolute charge, but rarely.
So you agree with the call?
Absolutely.
Everybody agrees with the call?
Yes, it was a charge. I mean, he stepped outside of the restricted area. He had his heels set in cement, stood up straight.
So why is it controversial?
It's not controversial, but you just rarely see the whistle either be blown, or when it is in that situation, to call it on the offense.
Nobody wants to hear from the referee at that point, but you absolutely had to. That's the call you got to make.
But
you have to make that call.
Controversy often.
Well, I think the controversy is around is that you rarely see it.
Yeah.
You rarely see that call made, but I don't think that you can't debate whether or not it was a charge.
Yeah.
I mean, in sports, the biggest call debate is pass interference, non-pass interference, and block charge. I mean, whether it's a block, whether it's a charge in basketball, it is such a debatable and by the eye of the beholder call.
Yeah.
But this on Saturday was by the letter of the law, an absolute charge. I commend the official. Drew Timmy deserves a ton for making that play in that moment with 4 fouls. I mean, think about the plays that Timmy made in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that stretch that Gonzaga went on in the extra period, all based on Timmy's play. And think about if he gets his 5th foul there at the end of the game and he's out and you go to overtime without him. Maybe Gonzaga finds a chance to win because they've got the best player on the floor in Jalen Suggs. I just, watching that game on Saturday night, I think, a lot of people can be captured by moments, and if you're an NBA general manager and Suggs is in the discussion as the number 1, number 2 pick, I don't know how you stay away from him after what and watching him play on Saturday night.
Yeah.
That possession and that sequence of the block, rebound, pass in the open floor to Timmy where Timmy jams it is, you will see that forever. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
That, and the game winner, in my opinion, is a Christian Laettner type moment in the tournament. I think that is kind of the new age Christian Laettner shot. And for Grant Hill to be on the call during that shot, I thought was really cool. And shout out to Grant Hill, who was just named president of operations for USA Basketball.
Wow.
I mean,
Oh, wow.
talk about a title within the game.
Yeah, really.
I mean, he is replacing Jerry Colangelo. Yeah, one for the resume boys.
Yeah, really.
Let's print that one out today.
But Grant Hill is the one who makes the home run pass to Christian Laettner in 92, who spins off a Kentucky defender and on a free throw line shot gives Duke a win and sends them to their first Final Four. I mean, the first Final Four for Krzyzewski on his first championship, and a moment that you will see and have seen forever. I mean, I still see Sean Woods crying on the court for Kentucky as that shot goes down. You will see Suggs pulling up from 40 feet with 3 seconds left in a Final Four game to send Gonzaga, an undefeated Gonzaga team, to a national championship. You will see him pull up from half court, drain that shot, run over to the scores table, and celebrate forever. I mean, that will be a March moment that will live on for, I mean, infinity. I mean, that thing will go on forever, just in the sense of the moments, March, what it provides. I thought what Lloyd said coming in this morning, that sports are back, that was the highlight of that take, because of March just going March, right? I mean, that was just an incredible basketball game, an incredible moment. I mean, UCLA, man.
Crashed the party
How
and
bad
tried to throw the after party.
I thought the shot of Mark Few off of Jalen Suggs' game-winning shot, where he celebrates in the moment that we're going to the Natty, but then he realizes and remembers in the back of his head, I'm a coach too, and man, I got a feel for Mick Cronin and UCLA, because somebody had to lose this game, and it didn't make a lot of sense. Selfishly, I wanted that thing to go to 10 overtimes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
Watch
wanted
all.
that thing to just be on a loop still.
But I
mean,
love that Mark Few said, I knew when he shot it, it was going in.
Yeah.
Like, what a feeling. Like, that he must have felt.
Well, I mean,
You know?
they practice it every day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the stuff that you talk about. I mean, and Jalen Suggs. I mean,
Touched by the hand of God.
How
That's the guy who
great
doesn't have the ball.
is this kid?
On Holy Saturday.
I mean,
Roll the rock.
Suggs, man. That stretch of the block on the UCLA, was it Jusang who he blocked on? I forget who it was. And
Yeah, I think so, right?
it may have been. I'm reading it, but I mean, Jim Nance's call of that, where he's screaming like, "My gosh!" I mean, where he blocks it, gets the rebound, 2 dribbles, one-handed cross court length pass, and hits Timmy on a run in between 3 defenders for UCLA, was just number 1 pick stuff. I mean, like, that's where you're like, wow, take that kid. I mean, 2 years ago, he's one of the top quarterbacks in the country.
Oh, did you know he
mean,
played football?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, yeah, right.
I mean,
Man, it's like the Kramer Robertson mom story.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. But
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he was a dog in football. I mean, some of the recruits and scholarships that he was getting and lined up, I mean, it was just incredible to see the type of talent he is. He was also thinking about going to play in Europe. I mean, there was that mad dash for European players or for top high school recruits to just skip out on the 1 year in college, go play in Europe, earn a check, get back over here and play in the NBA. See, I think that's what March is. I mean, you can go over there in Europe and, you can play in exile for 6 months and go collect a check at 17 and 18 years old, which is very social and formidable years of your life. Or you can go to a college campus for 1 year, get into the tournament, and have March create moments for you like that, and nobody in their life will ever picture Gonzaga basketball without Jalen Suggs' face ever again. Ever again. I mean, Suggs, for as long as he can go on to have a Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant, which he said that's where that celebration came from, following the big shot that he wanted. He saw D Wade and he saw Kobe celebrate some of their championships and some of their titles by jumping up on the scores table and waving the crowd and to celebrate with them. And he said that's where that came from. He could go on to have a D Wade, Kobe-like career in the NBA where, you get 5, 6 championships, however many, and you'll still recognize him and still see that moment forever on Suggs. So, I mean, that was a nice win for the NCAA in the debate of these one-and-done players going over to Europe and playing for a year. Because a lot of those experiences are in foreign countries where they don't know anybody, they hate the food, there's a language barrier, and the only thing that's a common denominator is is basketball. Where the argument is, right now under the current model, you come play for free for one season. You get on a college campus and have really cool experiences and meet a lot of cool people, and you have games and atmospheres that create moments like Saturday night for Jalen Suggs. I mean, if I was the NCAA, that's the type of message I'd be selling. I mean, if you want to compete against the other one, but now with name, image, and likeness coming, I mean, really, if you would embrace that, you've really got a great sales pitch. But that game, that moment, that sight, those sights, those sounds on Saturday night were as good as it gets in college basketball. We're as good as it gets in college basketball. I mean, UCLA, I don't know what else to say about UCLA. Randy Lanois says that the guard play on Saturday night was incredible, and that's how you win in March is guard play. UCLA shot 57% from the field. Shot 47% from three-point line. They don't deserve to lose the game. I mean, when you play like that. Johnny Jusang, who is this kid? I mean, this is going to be John Calipari's Jamarcus Russell. It'll be like Jimbo Fisher's and Nick Saban's Jamarcus Russell and Matt Flynn. Jusang is going to be the guy that Calipari is claiming when he gets into the league and is a lottery pick that he's always been at Kentucky. He was a Kentucky kid. I mean, I had no idea. This guy came from Kentucky, transferred from Calipari and Kentucky's program after going out there and legitimately, I mean, this isn't some Arik Gilbert homesick stuff. He legitimately got homesick and transferred back to the Los Angeles areas to play for the Bruins. And, I mean, again, another one who creates moments in March and is probably going to make a lot of money because of it. I mean, they trailed by 14 points to Michigan State in the first 4 of this tournament. At no point did you ever see this team. They lost the last 4 regular season games. I mean, you watch this team play and you think, man, how did they lose throughout the year? They single-handedly, almost in a 40-minute stretch, brought the mid-range jumper back. I mean, they hit 9 shots in between the free throw line and the arc. You just don't see that in basketball anymore.
No, never.
I mean, that is gone. That's an art that is gone. And they were making Gonzaga a tough defensive team defend. I mean, guys that you couldn't help off of. You had to play straight up and play one-on-one. I mean, everybody for that squad, I thought for UCLA was just incredible with the way that they were able to control the game, the way that Mick Cronin controls a college basketball game from the sideline is just you rarely see that at that level. I mean, the way that he makes his teams play the shot clock, they get the best shot on the offensive side, and then on the defensive side, he makes you
put you in a headlock,
earn every single point, every single free throw, every single layup, everything you get, you earn from UCLA. I mean, I love Tiger Campbell, bro.
Dude, a baller.
I mean, the thick locks, the Marley locks. He's 5'10", one for the short man to root for. I mean, he's all up in the trees. Plays with this smooth, just kind of tone to him that he's never.
Sexual.
It is, man. It's kind of like, damn, Tiger, love you, man. But Campbell, I mean, 36 minutes, 17 points, guard play. As Lanois points out, I mean, it was guard play. Riley, the big fella, He was the one knocking down the jumpers from mid-range, man. And who was the Spaniard that you were talking about?
Oh yeah, I don't even know his name. I just know who he is when I see him.
Yes. I mean, Riley, was it? No, not Riley. Jaquez Jr. maybe. But they just
Jaquez.
Yes, they had a great squad, and you hated to see anybody lose that game. I mean, they played in 3 overtime games in March, man. In the tournament. I mean, they played OT against Michigan State, win the game. OT versus Alabama, win the game. Play OT against the #1 top seed in the tournament and lose on a buzzer beater from 45 feet from the best player in the tournament. You know, I mean, hey,
that's what it took.
You know, I mean, but the same thing we talked about, Lloyd, at the Michigan State or the Michigan LSU game, where LSU fired their most fierce punch at Michigan in the first 20 minutes, right? I mean, they could not have played any better. Got to the free throw line, made every free throw. Cam had 20. Everybody was hitting, and they were down 1. The same thing for UCLA, I thought, on Saturday night. For as good as they played, and they threw their fiercest. I mean, they threw a haymaker at Gonzaga. And Gonzaga was shook. They were on the ropes. They were still down at half, right? And I thought, even if you are Gonzaga, who has not been in a competition, bro, they have won 20 straight. They had won something like 20 straight games by 20 points or something. I mean,
double digits, yeah.
Double digits. I mean, the last game they had gotten into was West Virginia in like early December that they beat by 9. I mean, and if I'm Baylor, really, I mean, we hadn't talked about. We've been on the air now for 23 minutes. We hadn't said a word about. We hadn't said a word about Baylor
I haven't started the stream yet. Should I do that?
And what they did to UCLA. If you're Baylor, you got to love your spot. I mean, you really do. For the first time all season, I know the last time I said this, I was made a fool when I said that Gonzaga, USC's the one that's going to take Gonzaga, going to give him a test. And, I mean, it was never close. But for the first time since December, Gonzaga is coming off of a game where they've truly been, like, competitively challenged. I wonder if that was the national championship for them. I wonder if that was kind of, man, we had to get through
exhausting.
That. Yeah, you were exhausted. I mean, you kind of leave it there. You can't get past it enough to face a team like Baylor that will strangle you.
They're the more athletic version of UCLA.
More athletic,
just dangerous,
and they get up in you and defend you. I mean, it is a scary team from a confidence standpoint.
But it's very much almost a Rocky moment for Gonzaga. Like, it's the Russian, like he bleeds. You know, you got to see a little bit of behind the curtain of, like, Gonzaga. You can make them stumble a little bit. That's the first time they've been uncomfortable. And to be quite honest, it almost looked like UCLA was the more comfortable team in that moment until the buzzer beater.
Oh, UCLA looked so comfortable in their uniform all night. Uni. I mean, a great uni.
So what do y'all think's gonna take it tonight?
I can't wait to watch it.
I can't wait to watch it.
Take my pants off and watch
it. I don't know. I mean,
but what's your prediction? I mean, what do you?
I don't
have no clue.
Really?
I don't know yet.
I think
what's
Gonzaga.
Let me get the spread.
I can do it. I'm blocked out of my gambling account, but I got to pay somebody.
I mean,
apparently.
how good is Jared Butler, the kid from Riverside?
God,
I mean, how good of a basketball player is he? He does everything for Baylor.
What do you think the spread is? I got it.
I'd say Gonzaga 1.5 points.
4.5.
4.5?
Are we being dumb? Is it just
4.5? Gonzaga's favored by 5 points today.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, don't overthink it.
I think we might. We're falling in love. It was just so much fun. It just felt that was the moment. Like, I felt like almost in a relationship with sports to the point where, like, we were kind of dragging each other down a little bit. It got a little monotonous.
Yeah.
And she pulled out whips and chains on Saturday night.
Right.
I was like, I'm back.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we're in love again.
Yeah.
I need a cigarette.
You were a freak a year and a half ago. You still won?
Yeah, she's back.
Yeah, that's right. Masters week.
God, that's just a sensual moment. Also, the piano plays. You get the flowers out. Good God. Jim Nance, you dog.
What a week.
What a week.
What a week for Nance. I mean, Nance calls the Final Four the Natty tonight, hops a private jet, and flies to Augusta.
And Spieth wins.
Spieth wins.
You got the darling back. It's just everything's coming up.
Daily, we're brought to you by Advanaclean here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, get in touch with Bradley Lynch over at Advanaclean. He can help you out today. Water, fire, mold. If you see that around the house, the office at Vanaclean can help you out, whether it is getting over there and working with the insurance company, working with the contractor. Bradley Lynch can help you this morning. 225-369-5228, 369-5228 is the phone number. They're online at vanacleanbr.com, at Vanaclean right here in Baton Rouge. They're located in Industrialplex. So many personal testimony, so many success stories once you log online and you see some of the people that Bradley has worked alongside and worked with and helping them with water, fire, and mold damage around their house, around their office, and getting that cleaned up. The call is it's not going to be a good day if you have to make that call, but the refreshing part is that Lynch can take out all of the headaches for you. He can work directly with the insurance company, directly with the contractor, and knock it out. 369-5228 in a 225 area code, 369-5228, or search them online at Vanaclean Baton Rouge. All right, we will talk more, obviously, about the Final Four and the national championship set up tonight. 7:20 tip-off from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis as number 1 seed Gonzaga, 4.5-point favorites over Baylor for the 7 o'clock tip-off tonight on CBS. LSU baseball struggled mightily over the weekend. They faced some of the top pitching in the country. Kumar Rocker shut him down, mowed him down on Thursday night. And then Vanderbilt's righty Jack Leiter struck out 12 hitters in 6 innings against LSU. As there were some high points from it. Cade Doughty took that's a good moment for Doughty.
Well, I would just say great moment to get swept because everybody's watching basketball.
For sure,
you kind of snuck away with one there.
For sure,
it's like it's a Friday evening. I'm leaving work at noon.
Yeah,
nobody's gonna catch me today.
Right. It was kind of a.
They got swallowed up by the sports.
Kind of a sneaky 3-game sweep for Vanderbilt as they were able to take care of it. And look, LSU, no rest as they will be on the road versus Kentucky this weekend.
Who Mississippi State swept this weekend.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Nobody
nice.
cares about
Congrats.
that. Nice
NIT loss.
We're talking about baseball. I mean, come on.
Nobody cares about baseball anymore.
As we're talking about LSU baseball.
Spring football?
Yeah, let's go. Coach, call him.
Recruiting? All right, let's get in touch with Chris Reid here. Reid is the former LSU third baseman.
Let's call Chris Reid.
Let's talk LSU baseball. All right, are we linked up over there?
We are. We're blue.
Oh, wow. How about that?
Pre-show.
Accidentally prepared.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. Chris Reid. Get in touch with Reid here.
Read his phone number off for everyone.
Hey, Jordy.
Hey, buddy. How are you? We're live.
All right. We're doing well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Doing good. First and foremost, did you watch that basketball this weekend?
I did. I have 3 brackets that I have put out, and they're in 3 separate, I guess, groups. And I am second in 2 of them and third in another one.
Damn, bro.
I didn't see you on JordyCarterShow.com.
Yeah, right, man. We should have sent you the link. So, wait, did you have all 4 teams in any of these?
No, I did not. I did not have UCLA. Obviously, I don't know if too many people did. And I didn't have Houston either. I think I had Michigan making it to the Final Four. So I did pretty well in the first probably 3 rounds, and made up for it.
Real quick before we jump in LSU baseball, I've been working out, trying to get back into it over at Traction, and slowly but surely getting back in it with Kirsty and the crew of it. But I see you doing some one-on-one stuff. Catch our listeners up and our audience on what you have going on from an individual standpoint, how they can get in touch with you, because there is a huge demographic out there that is involved in youth baseball, and I know that you have embraced the coaching aspect of this.
Yeah. So I am doing one-on-one private lessons, and even some group lessons too, to foster competition and whatnot. But really just trying to give back to the younger baseball community. I was once in that spot, and sometimes it can be a little difficult trying to navigate it, and trying to learn and new learned throughout my baseball career, and definitely while I was at LSU. And so, just trying to have fun with it, doing a little coaching, and private lessons one-on-one. So if anyone has, I do ages from 7 to 18, and you can reach me on my cell phone at 225-229-5025, or you can reach me by email at creed1212@gmail.com. And we kind of just set times up through there. I'm open 4 through 8 every single day.
That is a confident man.
What's your
right there, bro.
That's a real number.
I love that.
Very bold.
Hey, we ain't running from anybody over at Chris Reid Instructional, bro.
And what was your social security number?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's right.
You're going to get some weird texts.
But you can hit him up on Twitter at Chris Reid 1212. Yeah, or you can just call him, bro. Just call him. My guy. I love that. And you know what, Chris? We're setting up a weekly right here on Jordy Culotta Show. We want to get you on weekly. In fact, you want to come in here and talk some LSU baseball, talk some instructional stuff. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, sounds good plan.
Consider it done. So LSU baseball going into the weekend. Lloyd said it best. They were able to kind of hide under the, hide from March Madness. Everybody was kind of paying attention what's going over here. So there's not a lot of pushback this morning. But it was bad baseball for a 3-game stretch. What did you see in LSU getting swept by the Commodores?
Well, first off, you do have to tip your cap to Vanderbilt. They do have a pretty stout team. I think Leiter's I think he's the real deal. I think not many people would say otherwise. Kumar Rocker, he's what everybody knows he is as well. Their 1-2 punch is probably the best in college baseball since if I can remember, UCLA had Garrett Cole and Trevor Bauer.
Yeah.
They're pretty good. And actually, watching those 2 games and watching those 2 pitchers made me want. It started to get the juices flowing. I wanted to hit against them really bad. Just to see what I want to see what the guys are facing and things like that. I know it's not easy, but it's nobody really at that level is easy. So I saw from their standpoint, pretty disciplined, like normal. Their hitters were, I would say, about normal for them. Just attacked and did what they needed to do. And then from our side, I felt like, you can kind of take the Saturday game's or the second game's a difficult one because of Hill going out. I guess I can kind of put that into terms with how, when Caleb Gilbert, his arm went out, or Eric Walker arm went out, and it's really deflating. And I know, I guess more from a fan standpoint, that they think it shouldn't matter. But whenever you see one of the guys that you've worked out with, you put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the off season and whatnot with. Whenever you see a guy go up like that, it kind of, it kind of can take the wind out of you a little bit. So, that's a difficult spot. But I feel like on Friday and even Saturday and Sunday, they had, obviously they had chances to score early on, and they just weren't able to do it. And so whenever you have the chance to get against a team as good as Vanderbilt is, you have to capitalize on them. And I'm sure the players were told that as well. So, and that's kind of my takeaway. I feel like the pieces are there. The team is very talented. We obviously know that. They've shown that. It's just one of the unfortunate things that they got behind early, in SEC play. And, sometimes it can kind of snowball. And it can probably take a pretty extraordinary effort from a player to really turn it around. But like I said, they have the pieces, they have the coaching to do it. So I'm not too worried. I don't really think it's something to fret over. There's still got time. It's a long season, so I know a lot of lot of people know that Coach Maneri gets hot at the end of the season, and hopefully that is what happens, and they can kind of right the ship.
You mentioned Hill, and man, I felt bad for him in watching that in the moment, just because of how big of a stage that was on Friday. That just knowing the amount of eyeballs that was watching that game, from a teammate standpoint, from somebody on that level, that has to be tough to see. Just in one of your dudes going down.
Mm-hmm.
How do you?
Yeah, I mean, now that you mentioned, I mean, I remember Alden Cartwright when we were at Auburn when he blew his UCL out. I was playing third, and Kramer and I heard it pop.
Damn it!
And I mean, I'm standing 35 feet away from it. And I was able to hear it pop, and I almost started crying.
Yeah.
And luckily, if I'm not mistaken, we were already ahead in that game by a decent bit, but I don't know if we finished playing the game very well. It was a very somber moment, because you know how much hard work they put in, and definitely even more so at Hill, just because of it being his draft year and things of that nature. You really, I don't know the result actually is.
Yeah.
But if it does happen to be serious, I mean, that's devastating for not only him but for a former teammate. It's just it's very, very tough to see. So hopefully it's nothing too major. Obviously, with the elbow and any pitcher and really any player, you have to be very careful. It can be a multitude of things. So hopefully it's nothing too serious though.
You played third base. You were on that left side of the infield that there's always a debate around. What have you made of the defense up to this point?
Yeah, the defense. I feel like they obviously they've shaken it up a little bit. I know I can say Trey Morgan is I'll give him some praise with he's phenomenal at first base, and I guess my praise there is, I don't know, is it too well placed just because I only played first base for my back end of my senior season at OSU. So I mean, but as far as from what I see, footwork, scooping, and overall athleticism. I mean, he I don't know if OSU's had a guy that athletic, and that good there before. Second base, I know that one's kind of a revolving door. But I mean, I feel like they have the players. I feel like they have the players there. I feel like it's got to just start to be a little more consistent. But I mean, that's, I'm sure they're going to get back into practice and really, really hone in on that one. And I think the left side of the infield is pretty good, pretty solid there with Thompson, and then with Jordy, pretty athletic guys. Good arms and can make some plays, but it's the defense. It's not. I'm not too worried about the defense either. They look like they're doing fine. They turn some good goal plays, and errors are going to happen here or there. I'm not exactly sure what their fielding percentage is this year, but I guess with the exception of the first game when Helmers was playing third, other than that, if I'm not mistaken, they're doing pretty well defensively. So, I feel like the infield, they have talented, athletic guys, and I think they can be really, really good. And that's kind of just my take on that one.
Chris, one place the baseball team cannot hide is on Tiger droppings. Explain your relationship with that website.
So I don't even know if it was probably a month ago. Somebody went on there and started spreading lies. I was trying to insinuate that I was, I'd gotten cut from the team because I had some problems and issues, and that I had to clean myself up and all sorts of stuff, and which is just, it's right. Not true.
Salacious.
So, yeah. So, well, whenever my roommate and I started doing a podcast, we had actually made an account. I'd never had an account or anything, and we made an account to, spread the fact that we were starting a podcast up. So whenever I had a friend that sent me the link to the article on Tiger Droppings, and I went and checked it out and saw what the guy had said, so I commented to him. And I was like, please share the information you have, because I would really like to know.
Text me. Yeah. Text me, buddy. Give me a call.
Exactly.
You want to go on the pod?
Yeah. But because now, as a I guess transitioning from a player to, I guess, more of a fan, and when I was a player, I would never have gotten on that and commented on anything or anything like that. Yeah, well, but everybody knows about it, so it's not like it's not like it's hidden or anything. So, so I started commenting a lot, and then I kind of just wanted to turn it into a fun little situation, and kind of give some insight to my time and even some decisions that were, things that were going on throughout my career, that maybe the average person didn't know, but that I was okay with sharing. Nothing that was gonna, gonna make anybody look bad, or, but just to give them information so that they know, they could probably have a little bit more of the puzzle pieces to why some things didn't happen or why some things did happen. So, I just wanted to turn it into a little fun thing. Some guys started asking questions about, my playing time and some other things, and so gave them some funny stories as well.
There is no better way to hit that stuff than head on, and when you do that, it totally deflates the entire feeling around the conversation when people are like, "Oh shit, he's here! He's answering the questions. This is the real guy." So I look, man, I commend you for that, because you are right that, that particular site and sites like that is sports' dirty little secret, where coaches, players, media members, fans will all tell you that they don't have an account, but the place makes $100,000 a month in advertising. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's because everybody's there. I mean, it's, so are you still in the pod business? Are you doing podcasts?
No, we ran into difficulties with our producer, and so it kind of folded. We were looking to possibly transition into we were going to have to get a new name and all sorts of other stuff and rebrand the whole thing, and we kind of decided. We decided that we were just going to take some time off, and if we get back into it, we may, but we haven't really made a decision yet.
Bro, let's do a weekly and get your butt get over here, man. Absolutely, we can do some stuff.
I'm stuck to this chair.
We appreciate you a couple of minutes this morning, but I will get in touch with you today. We're working together.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, man.
So,
thank you.
No problem.
There he is, Chris Reid, checking in this morning, talking some LSU baseball as. Reid is yes, indeed. Reid is as he said, they're very, very accessible though. It's a huge market. I'm over at Traction on Friday nights. Little Jay's playing the Spring Flag Football League, but there are, Katie knows this. She's out there every weekend, chasing the travel baseball and going from field to field all over the place. Reid does an incredible job of one-on-one training. If you're looking for any type of training, and as he said there, I mean, from 8 to 18. Being over at Traction the past couple of weeks, I've seen him working one-on-one with groups and individuals, and he's fantastic.
Some amazing resources over there.
They do. They absolutely do. They absolutely do. From spring football to baseball to training. I saw that they were doing the Easter camp this week over at Traction. It's a great facility and a great place right here in Baton Rouge. Remember to check them out on the corner of Burbank and GSRI. Daily, we're brought to you by Johnson and Spillers Dentistry. Get in touch with Dr. Johnson and Dr. Chad Spillers today for all your dentist needs. Remember, if you need pediatric dentistry, if you need some help with the kids with some dental work, you can get in touch with Johnson and Spillers. Our bracket challenge will end tonight with the national championship game. Whoever cleans up first place.
I'm number 98 now, by
98.
the way.
Okay, what a fall. What a fall.
It was coming.
What a fall.
I knew it was coming.
Who is in first place? Let's see if we can't check a leaderboard here and see who potentially could be walking away with a couple of gift prizes from Just Winging It, some Jordy Culotta Show gear, and some Botox and teeth whitening from Johnson and Spillers, our good friends over there.
Hunter Abear.
Hunter Abear
is number 1 right now.
There you go. So Hunter Abear's got a chance there.
Hunter Abear does.
With a who's second?
Ryan Robichaux.
Okay. All right.
Robes.
Robes.
Do you know him?
No. It's a playoff of Stugatz and Lebertar with the nicknames. The nicknames is so funny. Coming up in the second hour today, we're going to talk to Derek Stingley Sr. Sting will be here talking about what's going on with LSU football as the Tigers are back on the field. Then at 8:30, Mark Whitehead. Looking forward to talking to Mark Whitehead. Whitehead, of course, the longtime Division I official, nearly 30 years been on the whistle. He's been to 5 Final Fours. I believe the last national championship game he called was back in 2016 over in Houston. We'll ask about it. 18 years as a NCAA tournament official, and as we said, has been the head of the officials for both the SEC and the Sun Belt. He'll join us at 8:30 this morning.
What do you think his favorite call to make, block or charge?
Gotta be the charge.
Is that yours?
Gotta be the charge. Gotta be the charge. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's just so much enthusiasm. Did you see the officials? Did you see the officials call on the 3?
He might have told me
on Suggs 3. It was so good. I mean, he had the 3 up, did the huge one leg, count it. Looked at the scores table with the hands up. It was beautiful, man. It was a great call. It was a great call. But yeah, I think the charge, and even that end of the game charge, that guy never thought about it. He never, and it was very, I thought it was very obvious. I mean, it was a very obvious charge call, at the end of that game, but still to make that call on that stage, we'll ask Whitehead. I mean, you gotta have some, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you gotta have some chest to you, as Miles would say. But I mean, it takes some balls, man, to make that call on that stage in that moment with the game on the line like that, with a trip to the national championship. I mean, people's jobs are on the line.
Without a doubt.
You know what I mean? When you blow that whistle, when you make that call.
Everybody's looking at you.
Everybody's staring at you. And for as controversial as it may seem looking back, I still believe that was the only call.
You have to make it.
You have to make it in that moment. If they don't make it, that's what we're talking about this morning, and that's what you don't want. So can we not play these calls?
I mean, let's do it.
I still, to me, the best one is Gonzaga. You know who's on the call for Gonzaga?
Adam
Morrison. Which
he's on the call.
He's on the call. He's the color commentator for the Gonzaga radio network.
See, when you talk about thinking about who you see when you think Gonzaga, that's him, because I saw him on the cover of the NCAA basketball video game.
Well, I mean, I see him crying.
Talk about
in 2006. I mean, they were up 11 with 3 minutes left against UCLA in 2006 with a trip to the Final Four in the line in the Elite Eight, and he was the AP National Player of the Year that year, and they just melted. I mean, it melted in front of your face. I mean, all things that could go wrong in a basketball game went wrong for Gonzaga in the last 3 minutes. And next thing you know, it was over. Like, they went from up 11 to being beat within just spilling water. I mean, it was a blink of an eye and it was gone. And that was the famous shot of Morrison, of him breaking down and crying mid-court. I mean, he's just like, it's a helpless feeling. And he's on the call for Gonzaga Saturday night, and you can almost hear just like the release.
The vindication.
Yes, I mean, he's like, yeah! I mean, he's just in the microphone, but just what a moment to catch. I thought Nance's call was fantastic. There's a Spanish call that is incredible. There's a Russian call that is incredible on it.
I have the compilation of all of them.
I mean, it is.
And we were talking about this when we came in. It's like, I can't believe they're over there in Russia and in Turkey. They're like, oh, we got to tune into Gonzaga tonight.
It's pretty amazing.
What a night.
I just think it's March, man. It's the power of this tournament. For as much as we want to just dog cuss the NCAA, and they are worth it at every single turn, this is all they got. And that's why this had to happen. That's why last year, this thing being off and not functioning or not executing, I mean, you talk about cost people jobs. I mean, with the amount of money that this thing is able to produce within a 20-day stretch is you know, I mean, it's a case study. I mean, it's something that you have to have. It's the NCAA saving grace. I mean, really. I mean, it is everything and the only thing that they have. And so we're going to do this?
Let's try it.
All right.
It's like tax day for them. Like, we have to have this.
Yeah.
Again with the ball in his hands, in the paint, floater, short, got it back, ties it with 3. Gonzaga has time to do something. Suggs for the win. Oh, yes!
Listen to Rafferty.
Perfect season remains on go. Are you? Oh my God! There are onions, Jim, and then there are major onions with a kiss. Oh my!
Sean McDonough?
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
You can't even be a professional.
No way. Well, this is the profession. That's so good.
So
So
exciting.
much fun.
That is so good,
I know.
man. I mean, that's what the
Our channel's going to be deleted tomorrow.
No,
That's-
without a
yeah,
doubt.
that's what it-
We're
that-
never
It was
getting
worth
an
it.
email.
that's what it creates, man. That's what March creates.
Yeah.
Moments like that, man. That was that's as good as it gets. Daily here, we're brought to you by Falaya.com. Remember, get in touch with Barrett Blondo over at Falaya Real Estate. We were telling you about one of our new sponsors and our new relationships, Nevadis and Falaya work hand in hand together. A lot of symmetry with the people that we're working with here at the Jordy Culotta Show. If you're looking to sell your house this spring and you're thinking about trying for sale by owner, then you need to check out Falaya. Listing plans start at $399. We were talking to Barrett Blondo the other day over at Falaya. A listener to the Jordy Culotta Show heard about Falaya Real Estate up in Shreveport, Louisiana. Got in touch with Barrett. They're selling the house via Falaya, so it doesn't just have to be here in the Baton Rouge area. Wherever you are, you can get in touch with Falaya. Just download the app. Get in touch with Barrett Blondo. If you want to call him directly, do so. 225-939-6153. 939-6153. 225 area code. Get in touch with my friend Barrett Blondo over at Falaya Real Estate. He will help you sell your house today. If you're into do-it-yourself, if you want to try for sale by owner, then you got to deal with Falaya. Visit Falaya.com. Download the app today. Google App Stores, Apple App Stores, they can all get you set up with the Falaya app. We come back, we'll reset, get you set for the second hour today. Derek Stingley Sr. talking LSU football. Mark Whitehead talking more Final Four and national championship basketball. The Pelicans were in action last night, again without Zion. We'll tell you how that went. All coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered every single day by Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet with the new used car lot right here in Baton Rouge on Florida Boulevard. Always online, GEAUXChevrolet.com. Hour 2 of the Jordy Culotta Show next. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy at jordyculotta.show.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at jordyculotta.show.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Relief Health, the only way to get your health care in 2021. In your home or on site, Relief is changing how health care is delivered to you. No more doctor's offices, no more waiting rooms. Download the app today, Relief Health, from the Apple or Google app stores. You can get connected to a local doctor in your community or just order a test directly without talking to a doctor. Their COVID tests are live, and right now they have the Moderna vaccine. Online at reliefhealth.com or download the app from your Apple or Google app stores now. Relief Health, changing the way that healthcare is brought to you in 2021. Welcome back in here to the Jordy Culotta Show, live on this Monday morning, presented by Go Chevrolet. Remember, we were talking to you about Go Express Automotive as they've opened up their new used car lot here in the capital city in Baton Rouge. Still have their original location over in Laplace. If you're headed to or coming from New Orleans to Baton Rouge, you can stop in and see Go Chevrolet over in Laplace. Huge Gridiron show coming up this morning, as Whitney Breaux will be live here in the undisclosed location with DD Breaux. How about that, man? What a bridge builder.
Awesome.
What a bridge builder, a connector. Whitney Breaux bringing in the myth.
For that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You kidding? Make sure we get Coach Breaux to sign the flag.
Of course.
Just for
Are you with that?
Just for the proof.
Yeah.
Just for the proof. But DD Breaux today is live in studio in the UDL with the Gridiron Show, as Whit will be talking to Coach Breaux on the latest of what she has going on. Every Monday here on the Jordy Culotta Show, we link up with one of the great teachers of our town, Derek Stingley Sr., as he is coaching the defensive backfield over at the Dunham School. He is coaching defensive back football and really the game and life. To everyone who wants to sign up over at Elite Football Academy. It is just purely built on making you a better football player in a state that produces per capita as many pros as anybody in the NFL. Louisiana, and now here in South Louisiana in Baton Rouge, Elite Football Academy is based all geared all towards that. And Derek Stingley Sr., very influential about what's going on over there. Happy belated Easter to you and the family. Good morning, man. How are you?
Thank you. Same to you guys. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Basketball over the weekend? Do you watch that? I mean, how good was that?
Well, I didn't watch any. I kind of seen some highlights, man. It was a long weekend for me.
Yeah?
I don't think I watched any television.
Wow. All football?
No, it was just family stuff.
Okay.
Holiday.
Yeah.
Holiday.
All right. Speaking of football, spring football up, and now you're kind of in the meat of it now for LSU, and it seems like the reports have been very positive, specifically on the defensive side of the football. Coach, it seems like a very organized spring practice for the crew.
Yeah, I mean it's looking good. I think that those guys are buying in. You're seeing, not many big plays. I mean, the offense have their plays, but, defense is keeping it down to a minimum. I think with them moving Jay to the safety position, that kind of, gave us a better look, at that position since Grant Delpit, when he was, when he was on fire, when he was here.
Yeah.
So, we look good. I mean, they're getting some pressure up front. I think everybody's on the same page. The corners are looking good. Even with Elias being out, we still look good. And I think once Elias come back, we're going to look better.
You have been high on Jay Ward for a long time, man. Him and Derek came in together. And you know, look, Derek was the poster of true freshman defensive backs in the conference, in the country, and specifically at LSU. But Jay Ward played some pretty big snaps his freshman season.
Jordy, all those guys did.
Yeah.
Cordell played some good snaps, and Jay, of course. And, you know, that was just a good class. You know, the only one out of that class that didn't play as much, I think he redshirted, was Darius Jones. And, you know, and he's coming into his own as well. But Jay just had something in him, man. It was like he just came to practice with this smile on his face. You know, he didn't let a lot bother him. If he was thrown into a situation, he accepted it, meaning even if he hadn't practiced it for, I don't know how long it takes for him to really understand a position, but if he was moved to nickel, all of a sudden he went and played it. If he was hurt, he went out there and played, you know, all those things. And that's the type of player that you want. And Jay has proven that, you know, he's a team first guy, but at the same time, he's a good football player. So I think he's going to have a long career whenever he chooses to go to the NFL.
You've always complimented his versatility. Is the safety position on now where they're eyeballing him? Is that somewhere where you believe he's most comfortable, or just is that his positive? Is that you can put him anywhere?
I think you can put him anywhere, and I think it's the greatest need position at the moment. So right now he's getting a lot of quality reps right there in the spring. You know, it's helping the team with just seeing, you know, if he's going to be the guy. I know we have, I think Todd is nursing an injury right now, so we're down with numbers. Then we have the two freshmen coming in, Matthew Langor and Sage Ryan, and we have Derek Davis that's there as a freshman. Then we have Cam Lewis as well, and Toes. So you only got like really 4 good, healthy safeties at the moment, and one of them is a freshman. So I think with Jay, it's just him being there right now is giving us some looks and some depth. But if he keeps doing what he's doing, I think that he's going to be there opening day.
Can you tell me what the relationship is between a cornerback and a safety? We always hear the relationship between the defensive backfield and the front four and those guys up front. What is it like between a safety and a corner? Because last year when the safety was very uncertain, there was a lot of confusion on the back end of the defense. As somebody who understands defensive backfield, specifically defensive back play, what are you looking for in the relationship between safety and corner?
Well, you need communication first, and especially if you're going to have any type of scheme on defense, you know, from a coordinator standpoint, someone has to lead and someone has to be able to put everybody in the same position to where we're on the same page. Case in point, if you get any motions, sometimes that changes the defense. Or if you get a tight formation, that changes the defense. Or if you get an empty look when all wide receivers are out and able to, they're lining up in the wide receiver set. So if no one is talking or if they're not communicating, if the corner can't get, you know, the right check with the safety or vice versa, the defense is going to look like it's all screwed up, which we saw some of that last year. Now we're getting, you know, guys are on the same page more. They have better understanding of what they're doing, because without that first communication, you know, from the first check or even we're in this defense communication. I mean, it don't necessarily have to be a check. It can be the play it check, you know, play it. And if those guys are not understanding that, now you have, talking secondary, now you have 3 guys doing something and 1 guy doing something different, and it looks like what we somewhat had last year a little bit.
Yeah.
You don't need that, and you don't want that. So the safety position is key, most definitely with communication, and it helps everyone. It helps the corners. It even helps the linebackers, because sometimes they have to drop into coverage. So then you also got to think about the nickelback as well. So he's involved in all that communication. And most times in most schools, the safeties are the ones that put everybody where they need to be. And you got to have a little football IQ if you're going to be back there. You can't just be back there saying, I'm just going to play the middle of the field or I just want to blitz. That's not what you do as a coordinated group. You all have to be together.
How thorough is that communication? Is a little bit more on that as you just alluded to, but I mean, it's not just calling coverages, right? I mean, it's not just.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jordy.
It was just not telling you where you need to be in coverage. I mean, there's a lot more communication that goes into that.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, it's not just coverage. It's about where we are on the field. It's about who do we have our antennas up against? Like what receiver or tight end or running back? Where is he at? Heck, is the running back? Is he to the boundaries? Is he to the field? All that matters. I mean, it's not just the part of what defense we're in. Where are we? What's the down and distance? All those things. You have to stay on the same page because you don't want to be, in a whole different mindset of not having, the anxiety. I mean, not the anxiety, but the know-how of, hey, this is the most important play of the game, and you might just be in mindset of, well, this is 2nd and 10, and it's really 4th and 10, or something like that. So the safety kind of keep everybody on the same page.
Could Pro Day have gone any better for the LSU guys last week?
Man, that was a show. I mean, I was there. I was like, wow. So I think all those guys did a great job of positioning themselves pretty well. I think with Jamar, he just told the world, here I am, just in case you forgot, that kind of thing. Right. I think Terrence did a good job of putting up some good numbers. Racy, I mean, I knew Racy was fast. I think most of us probably knew Racy was fast, but now the world or the nation knows that he's fast. I want to carry to do a little bit better in the 40 because his thing is he's fast. So we were looking for him to be faster, but heck, 4.33 is super fast. People don't realize that, but I really wanted him to have that title of the fastest guy. So and Jacoby just blew everybody out of the water with his vertical and his broad jump. He looked so lean. All those things that people kind of getting on him about. He kind of closed the door on some doubters. So hopefully those guys can move up if they were down on some boards and get themselves in a position where they can make some real good money.
If a pro scout called and asked you how to use Stevens at the next level, what would you tell him?
I still say he's a hybrid guy. I think that it all depends what they're looking for. If they want, I think he would go in as a safety, but then he would be a box safety. Don't think that a lot of teams would probably use him in pass coverage or like in the field. But Jacoby's comfortable being in the box. You can still play man coverage from the box. You can still play zone. You can blitz, things like that. I think the NFL is naturally a little more faster. So, I mean, I've seen him play in the field, but me personally, I would put him down in the box. Let him bang with the tight ends and run with some running backs and blitz the quarterback.
And Kerry Vincent, I mean, from just a physical standpoint, when you see his game, does it translate to the NFL?
As a nickelback, it does. Yeah. I think he'll be in better situations. He'll have, better schemes to work with when he's in the NFL. I think that he was a little handcuffed with the way we handled the nickelback position, maybe, his 2019, 2018 year. But I think that, once he gets himself in the NFL, his speed will most definitely be on display because, you got in that slot position, you're going to have a lot of good receivers that can run dope move routes, that can actually run, speed routes as well. So, So he'll be wanted, and I think that he'll make some plays. You just got to get in a good system. I think Kerry is another one that can do some things from the box position as well. Meaning he can show blitz, he can go on a blitz, he can play a little zone. He has real good ball skills too. So hopefully he'll come down with a few picks. Hopefully have a good career as well.
last time we asked you for a name, I believe you gave us the older Alsbury, and since I've looked up the past couple of weeks, I believe that the big boys have started to offer him on the older, the younger one. Everybody is lining up for. Any names over at Elite Football Academy that you're working with, or is anybody that you're working with directly that you want to highlight this morning before we get out of here?
Well, I mean, there's this one kid out of Scotlandville. His name is Jeremiah. But he kind of moved around a little bit. He was at Baker, and then now he's at Scotlandville. But
Jeremiah Jackson?
Jeremiah, no, that's not it. Okay. I'm sorry, I can't remember his last name. But I'll text it to you once I figure it out.
Yes, sir.
But no, this kid can go, man. I mean, he's a hard worker. He's a quiet guy. Coming in, does whatever I ask him to do, and he looks good doing it. So.
I don't know, and I hope I don't put you in a bad spot here, because I don't know if you have an allegiance to any of these 7-on-7 organizations that are all over town. But,
no, I'm good.
Okay.
No, I'm good.
Well, because everybody's talking about what Rohan and those guys are doing over at F3.
Mm-hmm. No, they're doing a good job, and my guy Ken Agnew, he runs the F3. He's a guy out of Zachary. He played at Grambling. He coached at Grambling. I think he does some coaching. He coached at Eastvale and Westvale as well. Defensive backs, defensive coordinator, wide receiver guy. Just all around great guy. I love what he's doing for the community around here. He's getting these kids some exposure, and he's not taking the credit. He don't ever want to do that from a high school coach, because I know some high school coaches they don't like 7-on-7, and Ken is not one of those guys with F3 to say, look at my guy got this, my guy. He just wants to help out in any form of fashion. He's a trainer. He trains over at Elite. He has a great following. I mean, the things that he does for these young kids, he trained from almost like the youngest of the young, like 6 and 7 years old, on up to pro guys. Like, there's a bunch of pro guys that believe in him, like Clyde Edwards, Russell Gage, Derek Dillon. Those guys are always training with him. So I think they've been training with him for some good time, a good while now. So he does a good thing, and I'm proud that he's that guy that everyone kind of leans on and go to for some advice, and even for some physical help, as a trainer.
Wow, that was purely organic, right? That was a great answer, a great endorsement for Ken F3 and their organization from one of the greats in our community, especially around the game of football, and Derek Stingley Sr. Over there at Elite Football Academy, and with us every Monday morning right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. See you soon, man. Thank you.
All right, Jordy. Good talking with you.
All right, man. There he is, Derek Stingley Sr. checking in from Elite Football Academy this morning.
What is his son going to do at the Combine, at the Pro Day? When Derek Stingley Jr., when he gets his chance, it's going to be, a sight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's built for that stuff.
That's what I'm saying. He's as good as you can look.
He is exactly. Uniform. I mean, and from the testing standpoint, the running, the jumping,
he's got all the answers.
The hand-eye coordination. Yeah. I mean, it is going to be. He absolutely has the cheat code, and I imagine that he would probably do that at LSU's Pro Day and just shut it all down.
Right.
Because, I mean, Stingley, I don't. It'll be interesting to see what the feedback and kind of the scouting report is on Stingley going into the draft, because when you talk to just people around football and people that are tasked in doing that stuff, I mean, he almost sounds like the perfect prospect. I know that his sophomore season will be heavily debated, and that people will try to will come at you. Jeremiah Bell is who Coach Stingley was just talking about from Scotlandville, as he just texted me the name Jeremiah.
Like
Jeremiah Bell with the emoji with the hand on the head. But Jeremiah Bell is who Coach was talking about. But and it'll be interesting because look, his junior season is yet to happen, and a lot of people look at this year as as kind of the money year for draft prospects. I don't necessarily know what they need to see anymore out of him. He is, in my opinion, he's another one of those guys like Chase that could shut it down right now and still be a top 5 pick.
Yeah, absolutely not worried about it. Like, I'll come and do it. But
yeah.
You're going to see exactly what you think you're going to see.
Exactly. And you knew you were going to see this for the last 6 years, right? I mean, if you've been watching him play, and if you've just kept up with this stuff, I mean, that 7-on-7, the summer camps that he was going into his junior season, going into his senior season, and what he was doing to the competition. I mean, I still remember hearing and people raving about a summer game in Atlanta that featured it was probably the Bootleggers, the Louisiana team going into the Atlanta area and taking on those teams, and it had George Pickens, which is the wide receiver for Georgia. Those two matched up in the SEC championship game. Pickens was suspended the first half of the SEC title game, but came in and had a really nice second half. But when matched up on Sting Jr., Sting picked him off, I believe, once.
Ripped him.
He ripped him on the sideline. But I still remember people coming back home from that weekend in Atlanta, and it was like Stingley going into his junior year, and people saying, this guy is going to be potentially, he could be the number 1 pick. And I know that there is debate around that, and it is rare, especially in today's football world, that you will see anybody but a quarterback debated in that top spot. I mean, potentially the top 4 picks of the draft in a month could be quarterback, and the 5th could be Jamar Chase. But I wonder what the discussion will be with Derek Stingley on the board.
I mean, he's got to be the safest prospect of next year.
He seems, when you talk to people, that he is very safe as far as just what he is, who he projects to be. And, when you hear and watch his dad coach defensive back play in football, he's almost built the perfect player. I mean, he's almost constructed the perfect defensive back player in sense of the combination of physical ability and technical skill. You know what I mean? Just with the way that he understands how to use his frame to be a dominant defensive back because of the skill level that his dad has taught him just to play the position. So we appreciate Derek Stingley Sr. every Monday here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Daily, we're brought to you by Elevate Treatment Center and Legacy Center. Remember, Elevate is dedicated to treating patients who are battling drug and alcohol addictions. Their goal is to guide you in steps towards recovery and help you achieve and maintain sobriety. Over at the center, they are based in Baton Rouge. They provide treatment of addiction disorders, behavioral illnesses in adults. Online at elevatetreatment.com. That's ELEV, the number 8, treatment.com to get in touch with Elevate this morning. You can begin your treatment online. So the phone number is there. The contact information is there. But if you're ready to take the next step, you can do that all digital. You can do it all online at elevatetreatment.com. ELEV, the number 8, treatment.com is how you get in touch with Elevate Treatment, located here in Baton Rouge. So appreciate Coach Sting. We'll talk to Mark Whitehead coming up here in 10 minutes on the Jordy Culotta Show. I got back into The Wire. Have y'all ever seen The Wire?
I really want to watch it,
dude.
No.
I'm watching it now for the second time.
Oh, you're rewatching it?
I'm rewatching it. Yeah, it's that good.
I've heard
and
phenomenal things.
I forgot how good it was.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot how good it was.
The first scene.
The first season's fantastic, but
I'm saying the first scene of the first episode locks you in. You're like, oh, this is good.
Oh, really?
It's incredible. That's all it takes? It's incredible. Well, first off, the acting is I think it's high level. I'm not the acting critic that people come to get there, to get there. But I just think that the acting, and look, there's a little Louisiana flair to it. There's some Louisiana feel to it. But Wendell Pierce, who is a St. Aug grad and a New Orleans native, is one of the major characters. But I mean, like Idris Elba is one of the main characters.
Why are you rewatching it? Why is it
because
that
Kelly
good?
has never seen it.
Okay.
And that's to stop what you're doing. We're putting it on.
Yeah, and we were kind of looking for something to get into. The last thing that we watched was The Americans.
Oh, very good.
Which was fantastic.
Never watched that either.
Katie.
I don't watch it. I don't watch a ton of TV.
Yeah, and I don't either.
I don't
either.
But you're picking the hits.
That's what I'll do. I mean, I'll jump into something like this. But once I start a series, I'll become kind of obsessed with it. I mean, we killed the entire first season over the weekend.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Over the weekend.
Yeah, you're in.
Yeah, I mean, we're in. But I just forgot how good really the writing was. I mean, because that's what really makes a good series, right? Is just the overall plot. I mean, what's the writing, and can they keep you in the acting and all that stuff? And I just think from a cast standpoint, a writing standpoint, I mean, like I kind of got so obsessive over the weekend. I read some background stuff on it, and like there's like real Baltimore people in The Wire. Yeah. Like the same guy that produced The Wire produced Treme, the HBO series.
I love Treme.
And if you think about it,
there's a lot similar.
There's a lot of stylistic similarities to it, but a lot of the cast is similar. I mean, like Clark Peters, who's like the kind of the old man cop in The Wire. He's kind of the one that brings in some wisdom. He's the one that really kind of gets him going on The Wire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Really and truly. I mean, he's in Treme. Wendell Pierce, who we talked about, was in Treme. It's just, I mean, I forgot how good it was. And in a weekend of just kind of jumping back into it, I mean, we crushed the entire first season.
Well, the thing about The
Wire,
like
ate the whole thing.
Just
ate the whole thing.
Yeah. The thing about The Wire is it came along at a time when TV wasn't like that. Like there were no shows where you're like, holy shit, I got to stop. Like the writing's very good. It's very well produced. It's HBO.
Yeah.
Before HBO was HBO, it's like, all right, this is a premier series. So that's why it kind of still stands the test of time.
Yeah, it does, man. It really does. I mean, it's early 2000s. I mean, they're still using like the Nokia block phones.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how old the show is?
Is the cell phone? Yeah, it's like based in 2002.
Okay.
Burner phones, baby.
Yeah, a lot of burners. I mean, they're still using the payphone. I mean, The Wire.
That's a huge deal.
The Wire is on the payphone.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So I don't really need to watch it.
It doesn't take long to get there. But if you've ever been on the fence of it, I'm just here to endorse The Wire as a series that you can absolutely, binge. I mean,
How
it is
many
a true
episodes in the first season?
13.
So y'all did 13.
We did 13 from Thursday to Sunday night. We watched 13. Now I have very strange hours. Like I'll wake up at like 2 o'clock in the morning
and turn the TV on,
and I'll crush 4 of them before sunrise. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean like, and that's where I do a lot of my like binge eating. You know what I mean? My binge watching.
You could fall asleep, but then you start eating. You're like, well, I guess I'm awake now.
I mean, dude,
stay awake.
The amount of frozen grapes that I crushed in between 2 in the morning and sunrise, and the amount of The Wire that I watched over the weekend was pretty impressive.
Very healthy habits.
That's a good weekend.
And it was a great weekend. It was a great weekend just from the sports angle.
Yes.
The weather.
Yes.
Was fantastic. And just the vibes, right? I mean, like
good Easter vibes.
There were a lot of good Easter vibes. Now, I did hear a very sad story, and I
what a pivot.
I know.
You gotta talk about
it. But I just want to say this because I just cannot imagine the pain and anguish that. Do you remember Cedric Harris? The center fielder on the 2000 national championship baseball team.
Baseball team, yeah.
He was a great athlete and was one of the top athletes on campus during that time, and was the center fielder on the baseball team. And across the street was Marie Ferdinand, who was the point guard on the LSU women's basketball team. She was like one of Sue Gunner's last players. So Sue Gunner's tenure at LSU, very highly decorated, long time, really does deserve a tremendous amount for where the basketball program really is. I mean, she's kind of the foundation of the LSU program. One of her best players was Marie Ferdinand. Ferdinand and Harris, after their time in college, married. had children. Obviously, were great athletes and in their own right. CJ Harris, their oldest son, was 14 and was, if you were out this traction baseball scene, he was one of the guys that they would put on the poster. I mean, for as crazy as Little League Baseball is, for those that embrace it, I mean, it's this world of travel and high promotion, and C.J. Harris was one of the best under.
I mean, he was simply a prospect. Like,
yes, absolutely. I mean, he was tabbed already as someone who was going to be a big-time player. He got into an ATV accident 3 weeks ago that turned out over the weekend to be to cause him to lose his life at a young age of 14. There is a lot of back and forth on some of the medical procedure and practices that happened over the last couple of weeks. And his mother Marie, in her message over the weekend announcing the tragic death of young CJ, pointed towards some of that.
Oh, wow.
But it is a very sad and a very just sad story for a couple of former LSU athletes, but parents now that are grieving the loss of their young son, who, as Marie said, everybody on social media will recognize him as a phenomenal athlete, which he was, but he was also a 14-year-old kid, and he had a great smile, and he was always happy, and he was always, he was always laughing. I mean, he was always in a great mood. It's a great time of your life at 14 years old, and he was experiencing so much success as such a youngster. So I just wanted to say that we are thinking about the Harris family here at the Jordy Culotta Show because of just the sad nature of the story and the tragic, the tragic nature of this story. And being a parent, I just cannot imagine. I cannot imagine the grief and feeling that they are going through and losing their son and CJ. So I know that it was a very bright and sunshiny weekend, but it wasn't for everybody. And we just want to make sure and say that we are remembering them in such a tough time, because I can't imagine the tough feelings and just how bad that is.
Can't imagine.
I cannot. There's no way to transition from that. So our thoughts and prayers are with the Harris family. Tonight there is a college basketball game with the national championship on the line, and it will be played between two of the top teams that have been recognized 1 and 2 all season long. I think everybody's been wanting this game. Everybody has been pulling and been urging and wanting this game to happen. It was supposed to happen in December. Gonzaga and Baylor had the game called off within an hour and a half of tip-off, within 2 hours of tip-off, about an hour and a half before tip-off. The game was called off because of some Gonzaga testing protocols with COVID. It almost feels like it was kind of meant to be. It was almost like, hey, hopefully what the basketball gods were saying in December is that this thing is going to be such an instant classic and such a great matchup that we're just going to hold it until April for you, until after March, which is fine. But we're here now, Lizzie. We're here. Let's link up with Mark Whitehead. Give me 15 seconds real quick.
What do you want me to talk about? The Wire? You stole my wire.
Play a spot.
Mark.
How are you, sir? This is Jordy Culotta. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard.
What a transition that was.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Jordy Culotta Show, right here live on YouTube, Facebook, all your digital properties. JordyCulottaShow.com is where you can find the website. Our bracket challenge will come to a head tonight with the national championship game, as that will tip off tonight at 7:20 in Indianapolis. We were talking about the call over the weekend at the end of regulation in between Gonzaga and UCLA, where Drew Timmy stepped over outside of the restricted area. His feet were in cement. The UCLA player, Jusang, puts his shoulder straight into his chest, and without even thinking, the official blows the whistle for a charge there. That was an incredible moment and a tough, a pressure-packed moment for the game, the official, and everybody going into it. And somebody who we have referenced here over the last couple of weeks in many shows is a Louisiana native, a South Louisiana native out of Denham Springs, Mr. Mark Whitehead, who has an incredible basketball referee resume. 5 NCAA Final Fours, 18 years an NCAA tournament regional official. He's been 22 years on the whistle during the tournament and nearly 30 as a Division I referee. He's been the SEC, Conference USA, Sun Belt director of officials. Just an incredible resume, an incredible wealth of knowledge right here in our state, and is joining us now here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Mark, good morning. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. When you saw that call on Saturday night at the end of regulation between UCLA and Gonzaga, what was your first thought?
First thought was the official on the play took his time. He processed the play, raised his hand in there to call a foul, let it sink in for just a split second that probably most normal people who hadn't refereed wouldn't realize that he took his time on that play. And just what you said, realized the defender was legal, met all the requirements. So the burden's on the offensive player, and he called a charge. He did all of that, processed it all in less than 1 second.
Mark, I'm a little league official. I call the Catholic League here and the public league here locally in the Baton Rouge and Greater Baton Rouge area, and been doing so for a decade. That moment in those games are pressure packed in blowing in making that call in that situation. You've been to 5 Final Fours and called national championship games. Can you give our listener just a sense of the feeling around making that call in that moment on that stage?
Well, the stage itself is a massive, most officials are used to refereeing in front of, 10, 15,000 every now and then. If you work certain leagues, you might get in a big arena that's 20,000, but you go to a Final Four and they're held in football stadiums, the whole 75,000 people. It's a different environment for the players, the coaches, the officials alike. So the environment's different, and but you try to go back to your roots and try to, use the tools that got you there. And no official wants to be part of the game or part of the story. We'd like to kind of come in under the radar and leave, and people just say it was a great game, which the UCLA Gonzaga game was terrific. And that's probably the biggest thing. All officials just want to, survive that kind of game. When you get to that level, it's not going to be perfect, but you certainly want to just try to survive that game because they're just hard. They're so hard. Most games that you referee during the year have a 5, 6 camera angles top. You go to a Final Four, they tell you they got 36 cameras. And it's just it can overwhelm a person. So go back to your roots, do what you were taught, referee the defense, process the play, and he got it exactly right.
How has the game changed in your 30 years? How have you seen it change from the way that you call it to the way that they play it?
Well, like all sports, there's so much, money involved now and social media involved now that everything's, exponentially greater. It seems like every cause matter more for whatever reason that is, whether it's social media or people who have a different type of investment on the game. But every call seems to be more magnified. Every call seems to be under more scrutiny. A still camera is 1/400th of a second. Well, as good as God made us, we process plays in tenths of seconds, and we're talking about a still camera is 1/400th of a second. So, when we looked at videos, when we were being graded back when they started doing the videos and getting those 10, 15 years ago, you always do it in live action with a stream, and then you can go back and watch it in slow motion. You never watch anything in still camera because you just can't do that. It's just not good. Nobody's that good enough. Players don't play in still motion, neither do the referees. But the game has changed. The kids nowadays seem to be bigger, stronger, taller, longer. The defense is emphasized so much in so many games that it's hard to play. And offensive skill players seem to leave to maybe go to whether it's the G League or the NBA or Europe, or so you lose some of your skill players. So the games become much more defensive in a lot of games. The game the other night was such a joy to watch. It was free flowing, lots of baskets up and down the court. That's what that made that game so enjoyable for the fans. It won the first one to 60 wins.
Is referee anything like playing? Do you ever feel like you get in a zone or have like a bad game? Do you notice that while you're on the court? You're like, oh, all right, everything's going. I'm having a day out here. Like, I'm calling everything right. Nothing's good. Like, not because anybody's really looking at me, so to say. But do you feel like you can get in the zone as an official?
Absolutely. And, one of the things, especially with the younger officials, try to tell them, don't try to referee for 40 minutes the entire game. There's enough timeouts every 4 minutes. Try to referee for 4-minute segments. Slow the game down. Don't get in a hurry, and try to get as many calls right in that 4-minute segment as you can. If you don't see the play, don't guess at it. But obviously on certain plays, even if you didn't get the greatest angle and there's a collision, there's a foul on somebody, you got to have enough courage to blow the whistle and take a shot at it. But what we'd like to do is, obviously, if using all our keys, it's kind of like a linebacker in football. When that guard pops out, it's going to be a running play. If that guard pops up, it's going to be a passing play. We'll kind of do the same thing in officiating. We've got keys to try to be in position, keys to know certain things. Try to think of a kid. Jalen Brunson, when he played at Villanova, he's left-handed. He's going left. You know certain things on players. Kids that like to catch and shoot. And the defenders know that too. So you want to make sure they get protected all the way up and all the way down because they're going to be challenged hard. So, yeah, you learn certain things and you try to incorporate that and just go back to basics. Don't make it any harder than it is because it's already so darn hard. If you thought about it too long, it just becomes maybe overwhelming. So keep it simple, system, and just do what you've done all the time. Just tell guys who are first getting to a regional or a Final Four, hey, you did something right. Somebody in the NCAA hierarchy, because there's a lot of people grading games all year long. There's hundreds and hundreds, actually over 500 games that are graded all year long by the NCAA. So you've been graded. They've looked at you on film. You deserve to be here. Just settle down and referee the game. Make sure you call what you see and see what you call. I know it sounds really trite and simple, but it's true. Make sure you see what you call. And if you got to get to play and it's in your area, get a whistle on that play and get it right.
How much do you guys prepare? How much prep work do you put in? Do you scout? Do you watch film?
Oh, we watch film. What we do is, it's been over a decade now. We get a DVD after every ball game with all the camera angles. And you can go back and watch just your whistles. It charts. It has a breakdown per official when you blew the whistle. Has what your call was on the play. So, you got a hard ball game and you realize around the 4-minute mark of the first half you had a tough call, and around the 11-minute mark on the second half you've got one you weren't sure about, and you've got one with 3 minutes left you really want to look at. You can go in the locker room 10 minutes after the game. They're going to bring it in, and while you're still showering, changing, and getting ready to leave, you can look at those 3 plays and know, that one I can't tell. It's so hard I can't tell if I got it right or wrong. Right. It's there are those type plays, or I missed both of them, or I got all of them right. So officials are no different than coaches and players. You want to get it right, but it's certainly not a perfect science. I mean, if you can get 90 to 95% of your calls right, you're going to be in the top echelon of officials because there's so much drama on the court. We'll call it. There's offense initiating contact. There's defenders flopping to the floor. The offensive player with the ball has gotten good enough now on a dribble when he beats the guy. He'll grab him by the wrist and go around him. And if you're not careful, you'll put a foul on the defender. You've got people that hook people on the rebound. So there's so much action going on that thank God they went to 3 officials, 30-something years ago, because I've had a few games over the years where a guy would get hurt or we had an accident and the guy didn't make it, and we had to referee with 2 officials. And, the coaches understand. You give them credit. You say, guys, we're going to do all we can to get every call right. But I'm going to tell you, we're going to be in some areas where we don't see every play. We're just going to do the best we can. And then on those type games, you try not to also let it get too physical, because of the fact that with only 2 of you out there, it's certainly going to be more physical to begin with. It's just the nature of the game.
Mark, have you ever gotten lost in watching a particular player who's having a career night?
No, I never have. I have to say, because a lot of times people say, at 22, man, he was hot tonight. And I said, yeah, he sure was. And look up, yeah, he was 11 for 13, or something like that. Let's see, gosh, Minnesota, Mississippi native Tim Floyd was coaching Southern Cal, had USC in the second round game, I think it was, in Minnesota 10, 12 years ago. He's in the NBA now. His left-handed, can't get his name. But anyway, he finished the game perfect. He didn't miss a free throw. He didn't miss a shot. Wow. All of that kind of stuff. And you knew he had an outstanding game. But I didn't know he was 10 for 10 for the field and 7 for 7 for the line and scored 29 points.
Sure.
But you do recognize, you do recognize the player, who's having an extraordinary game, because he's going to have the ball in his hand, or you're going to find the defense closing out on him. It's like the women's game last night. The player from the point guard last night from Arizona at the end, they wouldn't let her shoot it. They had 3 people guarding her for the last 3 seconds. So you recognize that throughout the game, that what the defenders are trying to do to stop a certain player, make him go left if he's right-handed, or different things. You better recognize that. I told guys, by the time you get to that first media timeout at the 15, 16-minute mark, if you don't know what a team's trying to accomplish on offense, you're not going to be a very good official. You better know what they're trying to accomplish. Yeah. Are they a high pick-and-roll team? Are they going to play a 1-4 set? Are they going to bring guys off double screens? And who are they bringing? You better know that, because you need to know the trends of the game so you can be ahead of the game at times.
Whenever you were officiating, did you look ahead on the schedule and be like, oh, my goodness, I matched up with this coach or something like, ever have somebody that is going to be on you a little bit harder than any other coach? Is that something you look for?
You won't believe it, but I was more intrigued by who I was refereeing with, not how hard the game was going to be or the coaches. Yeah, who's my teammate? Because I can't change, the players or the coaches, and I certainly can't change my teammate. The boss is your boss, but it's great to go in a ball game when you've got 3 guys that each can carry their own weight. When the game's over, everybody stay in their own spot. The one play that we needed help on because we got blocked out, somebody picked you up, and you feel like you went in the locker room and you feel like you nailed it. And then there are other games where, the game gets ragtag or a game gets out of control, and, we just can't get it back because, we need 3 people working the game hard. And sometimes, just whether it's inexperience or, hey, players have off nights, coaches have off nights, and, God forbid, but referees have off nights too. But you hope when you get to these tournament-type games and tournaments and conference play that your 2 other partners, if you have an off night, one of them will recognize it and maybe even come down and give you a word at the time. I say, hey, stop refereeing so hard, just let it happen. It's kind of like if you play golf, when you try to make a birdie, you're going to 3-putt it. You got to just let it happen. You can't race it past the hole. Same thing with refereeing. You got to go back to your fundamentals. You got to go back to your keys, and that's number 1, get down the floor. Number 2, get in position, and number 3, look where I'm supposed to be looking and get my plays right, and trust your partners are going to do the same. A lot of times coaches and players ball watch because that's what, they know the next play coming too. And there's the referee on a certain angle. He might not even be looking at the ball, and he shouldn't be. He should be off the ball, covering all his off-ball responsibilities. And you'll see a coach say, hey, that's a foul. And he's hollering in the guy's ear who's not even looking at the ball because that's not his job. We had 2 guys over there working the ball. He's on the opposite side of the floor. He's trying to catch illegal screens in 3 seconds in the lane, and the guy getting held off a cut and all these things. And that's where you have to have a lot of trust in your partners, because if you went out there and I told you it's hard enough to referee a 2-man crew, I could just see one guy trying to take over. It would just be devastating to the game. But the guys at the highest level, what you're watching on TV, a lot of times we've not worked that many games together, but we know who each other are. We've been to tournaments together before, and there's a lot of trust. And you recognize and realize, when we call a foul, we've got to be right. There's only 5 fouls in the ball game for the kids, and you don't want to unjustly put a foul on the kid. And if you think there's a tweener or an if foul or a possibility, and maybe we'll put one, you just try to work really hard to say, we've got to make sure we get quality calls.
You are the executive director, the event director with the Stars and Stripes Officiating Clinic, which is pretty recognized as the top in developing officials. What is the state of those options, that pool right now of referees? How is that trade being perceived? Is there young up and coming officials on the way?
Oh, certainly yes. I'm not any more involved in the summer activities where we try to scout and search for, we say young officials. Most of the time, that's guys who's already been working high school ball games for 10 plus years, been to the state tournament, several times, who've worked in our area. They would work in the GCAC District 30, which is Dillard, Xavier, Suno, those kind of schools, Tougaloo, Mobile College, and they've gone up. They work junior college. So these guys come in with a good background. They're so far ahead of where I was, in 1987 when I got in Division I ball. They're so far ahead of that. It's not even close. The problem is, like anything in life, once you get to that level, are you really now ready to work twice as hard to get to the next level? Or are you just kind of just coasting through? Because you have to kind of turn it up a notch, because now you're going to be refereeing guys who've been there and done that. And you want to impress them, but at the same time, you just got to hold your area. But we've got a lot. The SEC right now has probably one of the strongest pools of young officials anywhere in the country by far, I would think. There's at least a half a dozen to a dozen really, really. And when we say young officials, most officials would understand it, but probably the layperson. We're talking about guys who are 35 years old,
sure,
who have worked, in Division I ball at the Southland level or a Sun Belt level or, Ohio Valley level or whatever, SWAC level. They cut their teeth. They just not on TV every night, so people don't recognize them. But there's a lot of guys in that group that are really have been to the NCAA tournament or the NIT tournament over the last 2, 3, 4 years. And 5 or 10 years down the road, when some of the big time veterans have retired, you'll recognize them more. But they're a very good young pool of officials in that consortium involving the SEC, the American, the Sun Belt, the Trans-America, and since then they've added a couple more conferences in the Southern and the SWAC. So they work as a pool and a group, because by doing so, you're able to really scout all the officials, really give them the training, and then see who can elevate their game. It's no different than the players. They play high school ball, and there may be, when I went against Howard Carter, it was unfair. I had no shot. When guys go against, and you go to the AAU ball in the summer, it's a little more equal in talent. Well, when you go to the next level in high school, everybody was the best player on their team.
Sure.
Everybody. And it's the same way with officials. You get up to that level with officiating, you walk out on the floor, you walk out with a guy, you're, 27, 28 years old maybe, and you've gotten a Division I game, and all of a sudden you look up and, you're working with 2 guys that have worked the Final Four. No different than a player. It might be a little overwhelming, but you want to see if you can measure up. And guys are working hard. I will say that behind the scenes. People don't realize the thousands of hours that officials put in during a year, just whether it's training, tapes, exercise, phone calls, rules tests. I mean, it's endless on how much you can try to advance your craft. And the guys that put the most time in and who are most honest with themselves when they watch video. That's probably the biggest way the game has changed for officials, is the watching of video, getting it immediately after the game, giving feedback, getting with your partners, talking about plays, and then trying to figure out what can I do to get this play right next time if it happens.
Louisiana native and one of the highest respected officials that you will find in college basketball, Mark Whitehead. Surely you won't find a more impressive resume. I could talk to you for it feels like another hour, and would love to have you on or in our studio at some point to do that if you were open to that. I appreciate your time very much this morning, Mark, and telling stories with us.
Thanks, Jordy. I hope they have a great game tonight, and for the officials' sake, I hope it's very uneventful for the officials.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Do you pick these things, or do you ever do that, or do you just pull for a good game, even as a fan?
You talking about teams?
Yes, sir. Tonight.
Well, the good news for me was when I grew up, my parents and grandparents were Saints fans, so I didn't have to worry about it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to worry because I wasn't refereeing football.
That's
so
right.
I never became a big fan of certain teams, and lived in the area, but worked LSU here and there. But I went to Southeastern, so no, I don't. I always know the team that scores the most is going to win,
Yep.
and I always kind of laugh when I say that because it's pretty obvious.
Right.
And but no. Could care less. Just root for the officials and root for a terrific game for both schools, the kids that play, the coaches, and just the college basketball environment is pretty much nothing like it. It really is. It's still got a lot of purism at its heart, and a lot of amateurism at its heart, with all the big dollars swirling around and all the people pulling these kids in a bunch of directions. It's still, a game that I love.
What's the security like for you guys on a day like today? Like for the officials, what's their day like on a national championship game day?
Well, it's going to be a lot different now, of course, because of COVID.
Yeah.
Everybody's in the room. I mean, it's just the way it is. Nobody's out the door. They don't want to be, have to get contact traced back if something happens. So they eat by themselves. They wear masks all the time. And right now, they're under lockdown. Normal situation, the 4 or 5 guys that might still be there, the 3 working in the standby. If you were in New Orleans, you might just get out and walk. If you were staying at the Marriott there on Canal, you might just get up and walk out around the street, go down the river walk, get some beignets this morning, have a noon lunch with NCAA, talk about things for the night, what times, picking up and all the different kind of logistics. And because they're going to get over there at least 2 hours before the game, have a pregame, talk about things. So, it's probably going to have a little beignets, a little lunch with the NCAA, maybe try to get a 2-hour nap around 2 or 3 o'clock to try to just have enough, all your energy, because these games start so late. Now, a game in Indy tonight, Eastern time, is 9:20. So, whereas, a lot of games during the season are, 6, 7 o'clock. So you want to make sure you get all your keys down for you getting your rest, and then just hydration. The official went down the other night, Bert Smith, you saw what happened, and he was hoping it was just dehydration, for example, that it was nothing more than that, nothing serious.
Mark, thank you so much. Enjoy the game tonight. Hopefully we'll be in touch again soon.
All right, Jordy. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Wow.
I'm fascinated.
Me too, bro.
I have so many
more questions.
I talked to him for a long time.
I mean, I wanted to be respectful and ask him a Donahue question. How much did you guys get lumped in? How much did you have to beat that? Right. And I felt like we were kind of in a spot where he'd have talked about it.
For sure.
But I didn't want to. I didn't want to ask. Yes, definitely. I didn't want to.
How do they bring their own? Is there one?
I just don't know enough about the profession.
Me too. I want to know if there was ever a moment. He told me I could never ask him. I couldn't ask him about coaches, like specific coaches. Like he didn't want to talk about. Will Wade, like what's it like? He's like, no, that's off limits. But I did want to talk to him about because I remember one of my young stories as a referee, Kenny Allman, who is the legendary head coach here. I mean, EA, Woodlawn, Zachary. I mean, he's been everywhere and been a legend everywhere. Just on some random summer night, they sent me to coach or to referee summer basketball at St. Michael's, and EA was playing St. Michael's in a summer game in the middle of June. And for whatever reason, Kenny Allman was there and followed me up and down the court for three possessions. And I mean, I was pale white, a nervous wreck, so scared to blow the whistle, because if I did and called something against him, I thought he was going to punish me. You know what I mean? I mean, he had me so just mind warped. And then afterwards told me it was a great lesson for you. You can't let anybody affect you. It doesn't matter.
He was coaching you.
He absolutely was. He absolutely was teaching me and giving me a moment. I wonder if Whitehead could ever, if he's had one of those moments on the
Bobby
biggest
Knight.
stage. Yeah, somebody like that. Bobby Knight was who I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Because he said 1987. I mean, Bobby Knight was, the dean of coaches during that time. So, so many more stories. Many more.
It's got to be interesting him watching a game or watching a game with him because he's absolutely watching officials.
Yes.
He's not really. He probably doesn't watch that much basketball. He's watching where the officials
Well, he
are.
said that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. That's just I've never done that.
Yeah.
I'm watching the ball because I'm an idiot. I'm
Yeah.
just like, look at that thing bounce.
All right, good Monday show. Remember the podcast, RMB Builders, Rhett Bourgeois and the crew, 921-7062, rmb-builders.com. Really looking forward to the Gridiron show coming up here as DD Breaux will be live in the UDL talking everything building that gymnastics program, which is heading back to the national championship I saw over the weekend. So a successful weekend for Jay Clark and his crew over with the LSU gym squad. Stick around, the Gridiron show with Whitney and the crew coming up. For everybody here, Lizzie, Nick, Katie, Jordy, Culotta, be back with you tomorrow morning. Huge win for Frank Wilson and McNeese over the weekend.
Wow.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
They beat Nichols. Coach Wilson he'll be epic tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Make sure you come. He's going to be great. He'll be great tomorrow. Enjoy your Monday.
Jordy Culotta!
That's my man.
Jordy Culotta!
That's my man. Welcome to the Gridiron Show with Whitney Breaux, a weekly podcast where we celebrate the perseverance, passion, and lifestyle of women on and off the field. The Gridiron Show with Whitney Breaux is a part of the CJC Media Network.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. We're back for a live Gridiron show as we are every Monday, first Monday of the month. We're live for the Gridiron show. And as my favorite Denzel Washington actor likes to remind us, if it was easy, everybody would do it. And ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship.
Well, if it was easy, we'd call it football.
We'd call it football. And if you see that voice and hear that voice in the room, we are joined by legendary LSU gymnastics coach DD Breaux right here on the Gridiron Show. Coach, thank you so much for joining us on the Gridiron Show. We're so happy to have you today.
It's my pleasure. I was thrilled when Brian Barrios at LSU. Brandon Barrios, I'm sorry, when he called and said that y'all had asked me to be on the show. So I'm excited.
Well, Coach, on the Gridiron Show, we celebrate the passion, the perseverance, and the lifestyle of women in sports. And when we think about who has done that at an elite level, right here in our local community, setting an example across the Southeastern Conference and the nation, we're just so fortunate to have you right here in Baton Rouge and with us on the Gridiron Show. Now, this last fall, you retired after 43 seasons from LSU gymnastics. Kind of catch folks up on what's been going on in the world of Coach DD Breaux since you retired from the program.
Well, my world's got a little bit smaller, and I think a lot of that's because of COVID and the restrictions. And I can't be a part of the practice thing at LSU. I can't be a part of a whole lot of what's going on, and I'm supposed to be doing speaking engagements and doing the things that I did outside of coaching. I think that continued to elevate the gymnastics program. And once everybody will get their vaccine and get your shot so we can put people back in our stadiums and in the arenas, it'll make a huge difference for what we're doing at LSU.
Well, Coach, I'm a cancer thriver, as I like to say. I'm still going through treatment for breast cancer.
Oh, wow.
And as a part of that immune compromised group, trust me, we're getting shots in arms so that we can get back to normal. And for those of you that are joining us, my name is Whitney Breaux. I forgot to even introduce myself today. I'm so excited to have Coach Breaux with us.
Whitney, I knew exactly who you were.
You knew, and that was important. But for those that are watching us live out on YouTube and on Facebook, I'm also joined by Abby Alonzo, our student co-host. Abby is one of the best and brightest coming out of the Manship School over at LSU.
Well, I can't say enough good things about the Manship School and what they do for LSU. And really. I love the Saturdays when y'all have me come over there and talk about football.
All of it. They give us so many opportunities, this being one of them. So I'm very thankful to be there.
And then we've also got Lloyd Courtney behind the mic and Hallie and Sarah, who are also joining us. So we've got an amazing team that's joined us today. And again, we're so fortunate to have Coach Breaux. Now we've done a couple of digging into a couple of storylines here, but Abby actually had the opportunity to touch base with some of the current gymnasts on this year's team. And they had some questions that they wanted to throw out at you for today's show. So they miss you.
I texted Christina and I was like, hey, give me some scoop. And she sent me a list of questions. I guess they all, in Utah this past weekend, just kind of sat down and were like, what should we ask her? So they did want to know what you miss most about coaching them and how weird it is that gymnastics doesn't consume most of your life anymore.
Well, I think the thing that I miss about the job is the discipline of the commitment on my time, and I know where I have to be at a specific time and what I have to do, and the planning of practice and the preparation. But it's also the intricate one-on-one things, like, coach, today I've got to remember that Christine's got to do her leaps and straps.
Right.
I've got to remember that this person's got to do that, and so I write it in my notebook. And for years, I keep all these notebooks about our practice regimen so that I can go back and look to see where we were and where we are now. So I really miss the one-on-one interaction with the student athletes, with the gymnasts, and then the camaraderie. And I don't miss the issues. I don't miss this hurts and that hurts, but it's part of the deal. Right. It's part of what you live with as an elite level athlete. So you just have to accept that and breathe in, breathe out, and move on.
Yeah.
But I think it's the day-to-day discipline that is required and the interaction with the student athletes.
Yeah.
Now, we've also heard you say that this 2020 team might be one of the most talented that has ever come through the LSU gymnastics program. What makes this unique group? I mean, and they powered through this weekend in order to come out on top and head to the NCAA
They've
finals. Powered
through the last couple of weekends, and then they had adversity, you know, 3 of the meets prior to their last home victory against Missouri. They're just from top to bottom. They're very talented. We're also very young, and I think that 2020 is going to, although it's been a great year and we've had a lot of incredible performances, I think when next year you add on a couple of really outstanding recruits. The year after that, I think that that Jay is the right guy, right man for the job, and just moving this team forward. But from the depth we've got on the bench and the depth we have and the talent we have in our top 6 in each event really sets this team aside. Now that can't take away from how incredible the last six or 7 years have been for LSU gymnastics, and that is due to a lot of things that have come together, the village that we've created at LSU.
And one of the things that we talked about even before we got started today is over your tenure. I mean, you've seen women's gymnastics, but also women in collegiate athletics evolve. And from your perspective, looking back, but then also on where we still have room to grow, you know, what do you think it's going to take for that next step for women's athletics to move to that next level?
Well, one of the things I like to say most of all when we're met with a administrative challenge is I'm not going backwards. You know, hey, folks, we can make a lot of decisions here, but we're not going backwards. And I know where that was, and I know how hard it was to get here. And, you know, I'm sitting here looking at Skip Bertman's picture on the wall in this man cave. But
the wood paneling.
You know, we've had a lot of administrations at LSU, and I think when Skip Bertman became the athletic director, he really began to make some changes that needed to be made. But the beginning goes all the way back to Paul Merle, who was the chancellor at LSU when I was hired. And I've had the pleasure through the years, now he is sadly deceased, and I've had the pleasure over the last few years to talk to him a lot about the history of women's athletics at LSU, because he was the guy. And he's the one that went to the conference office for the meetings, and he's the one that said LSU will have women's athletics and we will be a unified department. And he sent Pat Newman, who was in his office and the dean of women's staff, Pat Newman down to coordinate that happening at LSU and making it happen right. And there were a lot of growing pains, a lot of, well, if we give this to the women, that means we have to take it away from the men. And that was never the truth, and that was never the intent. But having Dr. Merrill write the things that he's written and send me the things that he has about the history of women's athletics, I gave a lot of credit to a lot of people, but the main credit, you know, really goes down to his tenacity and his willingness to do the right thing. And, you know, Title IX was signed into law in 1972. And, you know, and I don't know a lot of things about the former President Nixon, except his wave when he said goodbye. But when he put the pen to paper on that law, it's changed a lot of lives for a lot of women throughout history.
Absolutely. And then where do we go from here, Coach? I mean, what do you think has to happen in the next 5 to 10 years in order for women's athletics to take that next step?
I think that we need to get through COVID, and we need to stop saying, oh, it's because of COVID. You know, we need to stop saying that. We need to move forward and do what it takes to get these programs back in the forward motion that they were in before. And I look at the sport of gymnastics, and I see how much incredible talent there is on the floor, just in the rotation that we were in Saturday night in the championship. So there's great talent out there, and there's great coaches out there, but never ever in the young coaches that are taking the places of people like Pat Summitt. You know, Sarah Patterson, Suzanne Yocklin, you know, all of these great coaches, myself, you have to remember, you're not going to, don't go backwards. Don't even look back. No. You know, you need to plan your future, preserve your past, but you need to plan that future and continue to move forward. Young coaches have to remember how we got where we are. And it wasn't by being shrinking violets. It wasn't by, you know, complaining what you're not having. You know, always go in with a plan B, and always know if a plan A, You're not going to get that, but you better have a plan B ready to go. You better try to be one step beyond the person that your adversary is.
And that's the definition of grit. And that's exactly why we call this show Gridiron instead of Gridiron, is because we're celebrating women who have grit, who have seen obstacles and who have overcome them, and who are ready to keep moving through them and power through it. Now, I also heard that one of your mantras while you were the coach at LSU was everything counts.
Well, everything does count. Now, I got that from a book that Skip Bertman gave me. And it's everything. Everything counts. How you dress, how you present yourself, how you walk into a classroom, how you present yourself to that instructor, because at the end of the semester, the difference between a B and an A minus, it may be that attitude, you know? So, you know, everything counts. Your attitude, your discipline, how you approach everything that you do, you know. And it's an incredible book, but it's also a fabulous mantra. And when I'm invited to speak, a lot of times that's what I speak about.
And then that not only applies to athletics, because some of our listeners, as I like to call us, you know, we're armchair athletes, or, you know, you know, but because you can then take those same principles and apply them into what you do from a leadership perspective at work. In that whatever you do, put your best foot forward each and every time.
Yeah, you know, and the perception that you give is the reality. You know, the perception that, you know, anybody gives in that first impression, or the perception of, you know, somebody is lazy.
Right.
Well, that might be the perception, but maybe that person isn't challenged. Maybe that person needs something to push them beyond where they are right now.
And sometimes it takes a little bit of a force in order to help you get there.
Yeah, sometimes it does.
Yeah, Coach, you also wrote in your farewell letter, nothing great ever comes without enthusiasm, or what was it? Nothing great has ever been achieved without enthusiasm.
Right.
When obstacles face you or things get tough, how do you muster up and keep that enthusiasm?
You know, going to go back to the word, you know, grit. You know, the word passion, the word pride and purpose. If you approach something with enthusiasm, everybody around you is going to, well, wow, you know, that must be a good thing. You know, it's kind of like the old, you know, painting the fence and making it look like it's fun. But if you approach it with enthusiasm, people are going to be more inclined to want to be a part of that positive motion. And you know, it's the fire in your belly, and it's what pushes you forward to do something because you believe in it. And I believe in the power of athletics. I believe in the power of self-confidence and what you can achieve. But you know, the power of athletics isn't just about the power of football. It's about the power of baseball and the power of softball. It's about the power of volleyball, the power of soccer, the power of golf. And you know, all of those sports create a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm. And if the coaches and the athletes in those programs aren't the most excited ones about it, then move over and let somebody who is excited take charge.
Absolutely.
Where does your grit come from, though? Well, where does it come from in your belly? What was the experience that led you to have that level of energy towards your work?
Well, you know, I grew up in Donaldsonville, and there was no gymnastics. There was no women's sports there. We could play summer softball, or we could, you know, swim in a summer league at the club. But the truth is, I was one of 8 kids, and my parents made a tremendous sacrifice for me to do gymnastics. And Sherry Harris came from Pal Moe's dance studio and taught a little program in Donaldsonville, and it included acrobatics. And I really loved that part of it. And for me to advance, Miss Sherry told Mom, she said, you really need to bring her to Baton Rouge if she's going to be able to do anything in gymnastics. We're starting a program. So I came over here with Pal Moe's and Arnold DiDomenico. We called him Smoo. And then I outgrew that program and went to Hammond. Vanny Edwards was in Hammond coaching the college team. And back then there were really no rules. So I could compete with the college team when I was in high school. So it was just the price that my parents paid. And every time Mom would drop me off at gymnastics, I would open the door to get out, and she would say, you get out of something what you put into it. So get in there, you know. So I mean, it was the constant message, the constant reinforcement, and like I said, there was competition. You got 8 kids. There was competition, just to get,
imagine.
Mama's going to cook beef stew on a Monday, and if I didn't get home in time or whatever, I was going to have to eat the potatoes because there was going to be no carrots and no meat.
Everybody was picking over it.
Yeah. So, and Whitney, you grew up with a bunch of bros, and I grew up with a bunch of bros.
Did.
Yeah.
You know how they're going to eat. They're going to run through it.
Yeah, and it's competition. Everything is a competition.
True. That's true. I even sometimes tell my son, because he's, although his last name isn't Breaux, I remind him, I'm like, you're made of Breaux DNA. And that means that you got to be relentless, but you got to be humble at the same time. You got to have both if you want to be successful. Now, Coach, in your tenure, there were many appearances in the NCAA finals, runners up. I mean, I remember watching Oklahoma in that most recent experience. It was almost as though that NCAA championship was a bit elusive.
It was. But when you leave the last performer on the floor, and it's coming down to the last performer for each team, and your last performer does her very best, and their last performer does her very best, and they inch you out by the difference in our sport and winning and losing is this much. Then you cannot walk away from that feeling like you lost. Right. You have to walk away feeling like they were just that much better than us, and I'm going to take a lot of pride in second place. We won the conference championship like 3 times in a row, won the season, and then we were runner-up to the national championship, runner-up to the national championship. So it's coming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's coming.
Right there.
And the teams that we had on the floor knew how to win. And I watched LSU on Saturday night when Reagan Campbell had to hit a beam routine, or we were not going to advance. Reagan Campbell stepped up, and you could see on the look on her face, she was relaxed, and self-confidence is the first prerequisite to great undertakings. And she said, I got this, and it radiated from her. And that's the same thing when Sarah Finnegan would approach the balance beam, you just had that same, or McKenna Kelly stepped up to floor. You just knew it was going to be there. So, Ashley Nadd, how many times did she hit her last set on floor or beam and bring it home for the team? So this LSU team has that grit, has that same self-confidence. They're just not putting it all together at the same time.
Now, Coach, as you're moving into this new phase, as I read, an LSU ambassador, as we get through COVID, what are you hoping to build as a part of your post-coaching legacy? What are you hoping to spend most of your time doing?
I'm supposed to be doing public speaking. I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing right now. So thank you very much. I feel like I'm earning the honor.
And we're vaccinated, so we're good to go.
But also, I'm looking forward to being invited by some of the other coaches to be a part of their village, to be a part of the question and answer of, okay, Nikki, what do we need to do? And, what do you want me to do? How can I help you? And, well, Didi, we need to do this. We need to do that. And I'm like, okay, Nikki, but before we do this, we got to do that. So I want to be a part of maybe a little bit of a tide change, and be part of that wave that brings some of our programs back to the prosperity that they once had.
Absolutely. And sometimes having that sounding board, that thought partner,
right.
Almost a mentor. I mean, let's call it a mentor to kind of help develop those ideas.
Well,
that can be invaluable.
That's what I'm hoping. And one of our new administrators at LSU, Stephanie Rimp, I think has vision and is very much a visionary. She played college sports. She played volleyball at University of Arizona. And I think that she sees that. And I always talk about the village, the people that we had. And, you get aggressive and you get angry and you're like, you got to do a better job. You got to do this. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. And so sometimes I come across as like abrasive, and perception is reality. So maybe I am.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, though.
No, it's not necessarily a bad thing. But if you wear your feelings on your sleeve, then it might be a bad thing. Sure. But it has made our gymnastics program a cut above. And, Jay and I, a few years ago, wrote a few articles and sent it to the college gymnastics coaches. And I hope they refer back to those. And it's about how to create a village, how to market, how to promote, and how to have your program be in the forefront and be relevant. It's a huge word in any sport. You want to be relevant on your campus,
And one of the ways that we heard that you got really relevant on campus, especially with students, tell us about how the evolution of Go Tigers and the Chick-fil-A sandwiches during LSU gymnastics mix. And is that going to continue?
Are they a sponsor?
Not of our show, but we do love Chick-fil-A. And if they're out there and they want a sponsor, they can reach out to
Chick-fil-A. One of the marketing guys at LSU, you know, they're a corporate sponsor, and they said, you know, maybe we could do something with Chick-fil-A. You know, what would you? I said, well, you know, everybody goes to the Union and they have lunch. Let's do something at the Chick-fil-A place. And so I would go, and the minute I would hit the steps, I would start talking about, hey, I'm going to go, you know, we're going to go Tigers at the Chick-fil-A. Let's go Tigers at Chick-fil-A. Let's go Tigers. And then all of a sudden the line got huge, and I would get behind the counter and just talk to the kids when they'd step up. And I'm like, said, you got to say, holy cow, I love LSU gymnastics. And they said, okay, all right, yeah, everybody in the back, and the kids in the front would say, you got to say, holy cow, I love LSU gymnastics. And the holy cow, I love LSU gymnastics thing just kind of began to go. So now when I walk through campus, you know, the kids are like, holy cow, coach, have a good day. You know, and you walk in a football stadium, and the student body recognizes you. And, you know, when for gymnastics this year, the kids were spread all over the stadium because of the distancing. And I would go up to see the kids, and they were just like kids, you know, our students, our LSU students. But it just created an enthusiasm about the sport and about getting in the arena, and about the quality sandwich, and very quality. But it was just a fun experience, and I wasn't just there giving out. I was interacting with the kids and asking them where they're from, what their major was, and you know, it's the person that cares about them, and they loved it. I don't know if any of the other sports have done it at LSU, and I think that's the kind of thing that I'm going to be able to encourage Nikki to do, and Fran, and Beth. You know, Beth has 3 babies at home.
Oh, that's true.
Beth has 3 babies at home.
We need to be bringing Chick-fil-A to the house for dinner tonight.
Nikki has a child at home that's just an absolute. If you want a great show, bring in Nikki and her daughter. Oh, well, because that's like coach and baby coach. They are an amazing twosome.
Oh, yeah, I love it. But Coach, you built a unique relationship with students on campus. It's something that, I mean, I'm older than our students that are with us. I'm about 15 years. They're senior as far as my time on campus. But even remembering back to the students, Ashley Claire Carney that was on the teams. I mean, the presence of LSU gymnastics always felt like a place where you could be yourself, but also where everyone was accepted as part of your program and the legacy that you created on campus. But I have to ask you, for everything that you've given to LSU, what's one thing that you look back on and you say LSU gave to you?
Oh, LSU gave me opportunity. You know, back when they hired me, there was no gymnastics training center. There was no gymnastics place.
Were they practicing in a basement at the time? Someone was saying?
when they hired me, the women were in an old women's gym that's now being demolished. But I've looked at that thing for 43 years, and it was a total eyesore. And they wanted me to renovate that old facility for the gymnastics training center. And Chancellor Martin at the time said, "Dee Dee, that thing is going to be so hung up, you'll still be fighting in court to do what you want to do in there and get the asbestos out, but people are not going to cooperate with us turning that in." He said, "Go for a standalone facility and you'll have a lot more success." But the whole growth of women's gymnastics is because of the support that we've had from Bill Bankhead, Ernie Hill, Kathy Hill, so many people that have contributed. Pat Newman, who contributed, fought battles. I'm talking about take your saber out and start, you know, slashing, and got fired because of her stance that she took for women's athletics at LSU. So, you know, there's a lot of people that fought a lot of battles to help us just survive. I mean, I had 2 times in my 43 years, athletic directors wanted to drop the sport of women's gymnastics. And you know, at one point, somebody called me and said, "Dee Dee, he's going to call you to come across the street. He's going to drop the sport. Don't go across the street. Don't answer the phone and don't go across the street." I mean, that kind of help and support that close. Yeah.
Wow. Well, Coach Breaux, we are so grateful that you joined us today.
Is it over?
Would you like to stay? Because you can stay
so
even longer. Well, tell us more. I mean, we've got a lot more questions, but we wanted to be respectful of your time because I told Brandon that we would be on time and getting you out of here.
Really, I have no place to go.
well, Coach, I mean, we can certainly keep going. There's no doubt about that. If you could go back and do anything different, though, since you're letting me go and dig in deep, if you could go back and do anything different, because that's one thing that I currently work in corporate America, and we always talk about reflective leadership and taking the time, pausing to ask yourself those questions. But as you think back, is there anything, any moment that you think back on and you're like, I would do this different?
I think I would, through the history of my tenure at LSU, I would do a better job of vetting and interviewing and searching out assistant coaches, because when I look at what I had in the end, that's, if I'd have had that quality of a staff early on, we would have done better. But at the same time, I had a lot of administrators that were tearing us down, really, trying to knock our feet out from under us so we would not prosper, would not be deserving of a higher status and more salary and more scholarships and better travel. So, that's kind of an itch and scratch thing. Could I have done that? I think I could have, but that's just the hindsight. And then, maybe going back, because, you always make mistakes. You do a great job recruiting, and sometimes you recruit student athletes that just not a fit. Sure. And there was not a transfer portal, and, if somebody transferred, they had to sit out a year. So there were a lot of negatives to kids not making it in your program. So I think if I would have maybe made one more trip, maybe gone one more time to watch her train or watch her, sit in the house and have more one-on-one, maybe I would have made some better choices along the way, and then to self-reflect, I think that prayerful patience. I think that when I was young and coaching and very, very aggressive and doing everything I could to save the program but continue to push it up, I think that I probably could have been a little more prayerfully patient in working with the people around me. But, all of that is hindsight. And I think that, when I was able to get Bob Moore to LSU and keep him here, and then recruited Ashley Claire Kearney and recruited Susan Jackson and those kids, but April Burkholder, and I think was a real, April Burkholder came to LSU the same time Simone Augustus came on the basketball team, and both the programs really began to elevate themselves, not on the backs of those kids, but with those kids' talent and enthusiasm for what they were doing, because they were really, really close as far as their piercing focus on being individually successful.
And you talked about recruiting, and a lot of times, we hear so much about recruiting in the space of basketball or in football. Well, what does recruiting look like in the world of gymnastics? We have a lot of moms that listen to our show and that are interested in learning more, moms of daughters, boys as well. But what is different about recruiting in gymnastics?
Well, it's really not that different, because you're selling the education, you're selling the opportunity to come to a place like LSU that just eats and breathes athletics, and there's so much enthusiasm on campus. When things are really going well, there's so much enthusiasm, and the sport program, and for us, it's the window that people pull the shades back and look into our programs, and oh, it's so exciting at LSU, I want to go to LSU, and that's just the general student population. Right. So student athletes want to come and be a part of that whole family of excitement. And now that, we have now a great nutrition center for our student athletes, and, so many things were done in the last 10 to 12 years, and it just really makes a difference. Our facilities were upgraded in the last 10 years, and our training center, and kids want to come and they see that training center on TV, and they want to come visit our campus. They want to come see that. And then, the coaching staff, the people that are come together every day to work with these kids, the trainers, the strength coaches, the nutritionists, that's part of your staff, and you don't see that. All you see is the head coach. But there's so many people behind the scenes, and the village and the people that we've been able to keep and support our student athletes is what drives kids. It's like, talking about the quality of the manship program and the reputation of that program. Those are the things that are so critically important that, the whole picture of higher education has to be protected. We have to take care of it, because we went through 8 years of decimation of higher education, and the trickle down that all these departments felt when they were just slashing and just taken away. And now, we've had 7 years now of higher education being elevated, money being put back into higher education. I think our governor cares deeply about the quality experience that our student athletes have and our student bodies have on all of our campuses. And I don't know if you know Dr. Reid, but that would be a good person for you to have on your show.
Dr. Kim.
Yeah, Kim,
yep.
She's amazing. She's amazing. But the care and the compassion that people have, that these people now have for higher education, and it's not about what we can take away, it's what we can give to them.
And the village that then surrounds the community.
Exactly.
And like you said, not just our student athletes, but our students, because the future of this state is certainly going to depend on what type of young people are we bringing up, what skill sets do they have that they can contribute to the
You look
world.
at the great programs that we have at Southeastern and Southern, the nursing programs and all of that. We've got to support all of the universities, through taxes, through tuition. Our TOPS program is amazing, but that's a state-supported program. So we have got to be excited about what we're offering our young people and continue to offer it with great quality, great teachers, great instructors, great researchers. And, we've got so much going for us at LSU, and sometimes we forget how great we are. Our brand is so good, we forget the great job that we're doing in ocean research and everything that's
totally
going
different
on.
from anybody. Nobody else has research like that's happening.
Yes.
That's happening right
yes.
here in our hometown.
ag school, and just everything that's so positive and what's going on at LSU and Lafayette. I mean, they're thriving just because of the support that's given at the government level to higher education.
Now, are you telling me, Coach, that there's not a run for office in your future? Because because we could start the campaign if you'd like to announce today.
No, I don't think so.
But I am in our family too, though.
I know. But there are three important words that we always have to talk about, and you've mentioned one or two of them. But we have to have pride. We have to be prideful about what we're doing, about why we do what we do. You have to have pride in it. You're a student at Southeastern, and you're in a nursing school. Why are you there? Be proud of what you're doing. We have to. We have to have purpose. Your feet hit the ground, and you better start running every day, because you're either going to eat or be eaten. It's just what we do. And then passion and purpose and pride. I mean, we have to be passionate about, why am I teaching English at LSU? Well, because when that person goes to interview for a job, please make sure their verbs are in the right case. But it's just so important what everybody's doing to contribute to the future of the state of Louisiana.
It's critical. And for those of us who have left and come back, I've done that already. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. And once you get back home and you feel the camaraderie and the village that surrounds you, you're not going to find that in very many places around the country. I learned that the hard way.
not with the passion and the absolute pride that I think the people of Louisiana have about what we do and what we represent. And then I look at all the outstanding, the outstanding female athletes we have at LSU, all of them that are just examples of the price that they paid to get where they are, and they continue to go. And I talked to the soccer team a couple weeks ago, and I said it's so important that when you see somebody out on the street and they've got on LSU stuff, you see them in the airport, go Tigers, go Tigers. Because the last thing I want to see is somebody in the airport with an elephant on their head, and they go, Roll Tide.
No.
Roll Tide. I want to hear Go Tigers all
everywhere.
over. And so I'd see them on campus, and it's like, Go Tigers. Go Tigers.
Remind them.
Yeah. So they're the kids are pride. They have a lot of pride, and I just can't wait for this thing to open back up. But so that we can put 2,000 people in our soccer stadium. We can put 5,000 or 6,000 people in the PMAC to watch women's basketball again. We can get our fans to wake up and realize what a fun sport college volleyball is. Yes. I mean, it's so exciting. So, there's just so much we have to offer. And, we've got one of the finest golf programs in the country. And I know that a lot of people play golf. Let's go out and, watch them when we have tournaments. And our tennis complex is second to none. It's absolutely fabulous. And, so we've just got so many great things going on, and we've already talked about the fabulous manship program. So
beach volleyball too. I've become a fan of the
God,
beach volleyball team, nationally ranked beach volleyball team.
They're not just nationally ranked; they're like the best in the country.
Best ever.
Yeah. So if we open that thing back up, it's gonna be fabulous. I'm hypercritical when I go to an event. I can't sit and watch the competition of the event because I'm going, oh, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do this. And the other day I was there and I saw the umbrellas, and the umbrellas were the color of the sand. And I'm like, I went to see our sports properties. Lance, we got to do something about these umbrellas at beach volleyball. He said, what do you mean? I said, we need Tiger logos. We need bright white umbrellas with logos on it. We need to sell our umbrellas.
Yes.
So if anybody out there wants umbrella signage, but
maybe we'll have to get the Gridiron show on the umbrellas.
There you go. But it's important that we protect our brand, and but not just protect it, but we have to work to make our brand shine.
And find those opportunities, those little opportunities that come about. Now, Coach, one question that we do ask all guests that appear on the Gridiron Show, because we're all about creating community, we're about learning from others and getting better. When you think about a woman or women that you admire or have admired in your career that have grit, who comes to mind for you?
Rosa Parks and the great Miss Pittman. Okay. And I kids, I had a third grade class come to the gym, to tour the gym from U High, and they were sitting there and they asked me that question, and I just like, well, shoot, I mean, it's those two women, and they looked at me and went, oh, we know them. And then they started telling me about these two incredible women, because life serves you lemons, and you can either make lemonade or you can sit around and whine about it. And these two women really had lives of lemons, and they said, you know what, no more. And then it was the first followers that picked themselves up and followed them and made a difference in their lives. So, I get asked that question, and those two. Google them and look at the quotes and look at the things that they have said through life. It's amazing.
And you're amazing. And we are so grateful that you said yes to being here with us this morning.
Did I have a choice?
You did.
I could have said no.
You could have said no, but the way I worded the email, I was like, please, very, very, very much so, please.
Remember, I'm your cousin.
Right. Okay. We're cousins. And I may have even slipped that in there somewhere in the email. But to have you continue to be such a guiding light and an example for all of us in this community, thank you. Thank you for all that you're doing.
I tell you what, girls, if y'all ask anybody else at LSU and you don't get an immediate enthusiastic yes, call me.
Sounds like a plan, because we've got your cell number.
Call me. But I'm telling you, a great show would be Nikki and her daughter, and just a day in the life of Beth Torino with those three kids.
The three.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, we will certainly be reaching out, because that's one thing we do follow up whenever we hear things like that.
And I'm telling you what, it's been a pleasure being here. Y'all are great. And did you have any more questions from the team?
More from Abby?
Whitney covered it all. I'm just sitting here enamored with what you were saying. Everything you said just hit the nail on the head. Every aspect. I'm infatuated listening to you. But yeah.
And Abby's got a really cool segment that's coming up as soon as we come back from commercial break. So we're going to be counting down our top 10 favorite Gridiron Show sports couples.
Great.
As soon as we come back from commercial break. But we certainly appreciate you, Coach
y'all,
Breaux,
and thank y'all for
here.
what you're doing and the message that you're spreading. And I've enjoyed watching your show. See, I knew Rohan was on the show. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you so much. Coach DD Breaux, legendary LSU gymnastics coach. We'll be right back with more.
Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy at jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at jordyculotta.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Relief Health, the only way to get your health care in 2021. In your home or on site, Relief is changing how health care is delivered to you. No more doctor's offices, no more waiting rooms. Download the app today, Relief Health, from the Apple or Google app stores. You can get connected to a local doctor in your community or just order a test directly without talking to a doctor. Their COVID tests are live, and right now they have the Moderna vaccine. Online at reliefhealth.com or download the app from your Apple or Google app stores now. Relief Health, changing the way that healthcare is brought to you in 2021.
It may be the last week of Women's History Month, but the Gridiron Show with Whitney Breaux isn't going anywhere. An all-new episode is now streaming on YouTube and podcast platforms featuring Dr. Lakeitha Poole, Director of Sports Psychology and Counseling for LSU Athletics. We talked with Dr. Poole about the power of flexing your mind if you want to be the best. Don't miss an episode of The Gridiron Show by subscribing now and follow us on social media at Gridiron Show.
All right, we're back with the Gridiron Show. How was that?
I think my jaw was open the whole time.
The whole time.
Listening.
I mean, I couldn't take notes like I wanted to. I'm just like, okay, quote after quote after quote, just life lesson after
that was it.
To
and
get better.
Wait, I have question, just because of everything she was saying.
And then she said she had time. And I was like, well, we can certainly take more time. But Abby, when I think about the last month that we've had on this journey with Gridiron Show, I mean, we launched on International Women's Day. We've been able to elevate and celebrate the stories of amazing women that are breaking glass ceilings in sports. And every Monday, like we said, every first Monday of the month, we're going to still be here live on right after the Jordy Culotta Show, and always support, grateful for the support of the Jordy Culotta Show team. Lloyd is still here with us behind the board, and we've got some great support with Hallie and Sarah, who are helping us keep the social media running. But for folks who want to check out maybe some of our previous episodes, where can they go to find those?
Okay, so our first 4 episodes are on YouTube and Apple Podcasts. So make sure to check those out and keep up with all of the stuff coming out, because we got some stuff planned. And a shout out and a thank you to our guests, Karen McCord, Megan Making Money, Amy Just, and Dr. Lakeitha Poole. All are women with grit who preserve with passion on and off the field. Persevere with passion on and off the field.
You got it. And of course, we want people to like and subscribe. So you can find us on social media at Gridiron Show. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. You can find us. We're on Facebook as well, live streaming, I think, on Facebook today. We've also got our episodes on YouTube, as Abby said, and on all podcasting services. So if you've not already subscribed, that's like the best way to make sure you get the alerts when a new episode is posted, and that you can keep up with all of new episodes drop every Monday. We go live the first Monday of every month, but a new episode of the Gridiron Show drops each and every every Monday with some really exciting interviews. I think coming up this month, we've got some NFL executives that we're going to be featuring, wives of NFL Super Bowl winning champions, recruiting analysts, sports journalists that are covering some historic moments in sports. So a lot of great and exciting things that are coming up. So folks definitely want to make sure that they subscribe. And we had a great interview today with Coach DD Breaux. All of that's going to be available on our podcast and on our YouTube show as soon as we wrap up today's show. But dreams are also coming true all over the sports world. Abby, I know we had a long list of things we wanted to cover. What are maybe some of your highlights?
So the draft is in 24 days. We've got 9 Tigers that are going to be, hopefully their names will get called. Pro Day happened last Wednesday, and we had some pretty nice results. You know, Jamar Chase blew everyone away with his performance. I don't know why that was such a surprise to everyone, as if they didn't expect that.
Right.
But he had a 41 vertical jump.
Good gosh.
But that was the second of the day because Jacoby Stevens had a 42.
So they were just leaping all over the place.
You should see the hype videos on LSU's Instagram page. Like they hit all the.
It was all of them. There was nothing left to grab.
That was it. And then the 40-yard dash times. I mean, let's see. Terrace Marshall and Jamar Chase both had 4.38 seconds. Jacoby ran a 4.5, and Racy McMath ran a 4.34.
Lightning speed. You know, I never forget Coach O. One time I heard him in an interview say one of the first things that he does whenever he gets to, high school campus, pre-COVID, of course, he asks, who are the kids that not only play football, but who's on the track team?
Yes.
He's like, I want to be the fastest team in the SEC. And they continue to prove it in Pro Day. And now from here, they go to the NFL draft, which will happen in Cleveland. How many days until, it's got to be coming soon. 24 days.
It starts on April 29th. Yep.
And when you think about all of the hard work that these students have put in, these student athletes, and they're athletes now, they're professional athletes. It's for me, it's always it's a celebration, because it's like, man, you've cheered for them for the last 3 or 4 years, and now they're getting to see their dreams come true.
And you know what? Leonard Fournette wrote an article for the Players Tribune. And he said, this is the moment you're always waiting for. You're waiting to hear your name called and stuff. But you've got to enjoy the journey too, because you're never going to get to a position and then you're just going to be satisfied. You're always going to want more. So enjoy the journey. And I hope these boys are doing that.
I hope so too. And the LSU fan base is certainly right there behind them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot. I would not doubt that the SEC once again will reign supreme during the NFL draft as far as having the most NFL draft picks, because there's just stacked talent everywhere.
Yeah. And the future of NFLSU.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Looking real good right now.
As we look towards the future. Yeah. I know the 2021 season coming up. Spring practice is in full swing. One thing that I just thought was super interesting, random note, is Florida, the University of Florida, the Gators finished their actual spring game in March. So they're completely done. I think Dan Mullen is on a beach somewhere in Cabo with his family. Hey. Took an interesting approach to spring practice this year. But we got to plug, as always, our folks at Breaux Body. I was looking for my logo on this side. Again, no relation, although we're going to have to talk with Coach Breaux and see maybe if there is a connection. We're going to, I promise we're going to get down to the bottom of it, but they've been great and amazing sponsors for us, continuing to send some great gear for Abby and I to wear on the show. So you can find them at brobody.com and at brobody all over social media. Now, Abby, we teased before Coach Breaux left that we had a little gridiron, little countdown of our own that we wanted to have some fun with today. And so what you got for us, Abby?
We're always so serious and we talk stats and deep questions. So I figured we should list the top 10 sports couples, the power couples in sports.
Powered by the Gridiron Show.
Oh, yes, because it's easy to forget that these athletes are people, meaning they date, they have wives, they have kids, they have normal lives.
Absolutely.
So we're going to go ahead and start. And just a disclaimer, there were too many couples to pick from. So this is what I got. We got some honorable mentions, but we're just going to roll with what I got today. So at number 10, we have Andrew East and Sean Johnson, NFL long snapper and former U.S. gymnast. Shout out. And they have a daughter named Drew, but they just revealed that baby number 2 is a boy. They just had their gender reveal party, and some cute pics came from that, so check out their Instagrams. At number 9, we have David and Victoria Beckham. David Beckham, world-renowned soccer star. And I just told Whitney today, I said, I did not know Victoria Beckham was a Spice Girl. And I don't know. I know. I said, I don't know if it's because I'm like young or like just uncultured. But yes, my mom was like, are you kidding me? That's Posh Spice. I was like, okay.
And I was telling Abby, I'm like, in 5th grade, like talent show, I was Scary Spice in the like Spice Girl lip sync. But it's all good. It's all good. Yep.
You learn something new every day.
Okay? Posh Spice.
Big deal. Spice Girls are a big deal.
Yeah,
Big deal.
Okay, I know their songs. I just couldn't. Okay, whatever. Anyway,
cool.
So they just spent Easter with all 4 of their kids yesterday, and Victoria was very happy to do that. She posted on her Instagram and quoted it, "Our family together is the most precious gift this Easter." So that was super sweet.
Nice.
At number 8, we have Megan Rapinoe and Sue Bird. So between the two, let me just, okay. So Megan, FIFA Women's World Cup champion and Olympic gold medalist. And Sue is a Seattle Storm player for the WNBA who has won 3 WNBA championships and 4 Olympic gold medals.
Wow.
Huh?
I mean, more hardware than you can find in most homes.
Yeah, and you know, they're both advocates for women's equality, especially in sport. Rapinoe is all over the place, speaking out on the issues and trying to fight for women's equality. And then Sue Bird just started a company highlighting women's sports called Together with Chloe Kim, Simone Manuel, and Alex Morgan.
Big fans of theirs.
Yeah,
Big fans.
So power couple right there,
For
to say the
sure.
least. Number 7, Russell Wilson and Sierra had to. NFL QB and singer. They were actually at the Stanford-Louisville basketball game cheering on Russell's sister, Anna Wilson, who plays for Stanford. And shout out to Stanford.
Who won Natties.
The Natty last night. That was their first NCAA women's basketball title since '92.
Wow.
I believe.
Stanford always rocking to the top, not only in academics, but also in athletics.
Check that out. And so Sierra just posted some pretty bomb pictures on Instagram that actually Russell took.
What?
So he was hyping her up, and they had to remind everybody that they're still up there.
Her post baby body snapback game.
I mean,
I'm just letting you know, it don't work like that for everybody. Let me tell you, it don't look like that for everybody. You know, I don't know what she's doing, but it's a snapback.
She looks good. And number 6, Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, former NBA star and the actress. They're great stars in their respective fields, but I mean their TikToks.
Their TikTok is on new levels.
And Hallie, we were talking about that earlier. I crack up. They pop up on my For You page when I'm scrolling, procrastinating on TikTok, and they're hilarious. So check out their TikTok if you
And their
laugh.
baby girl, their daughter, is like, I mean, just loads of personality.
Oh, she's in the TikToks.
Oh,
they make
attitude
sure to put
and
her
all.
in there.
I love it.
Yeah. At number 5, we have J-Lo and A-Rod. So there was some questions on whether that was still a power couple, and I will tell you, they are working things out.
All right.
Okay. They were engaged. I don't think they are anymore, but J-Lo is filming a movie in the Dominican Republic, and A-Rod flew out, and there are paparazzi pictures of them cuddling and like
Canoodling.
being romantic. Yeah, there you go.
Working on it.
Yes, they're working on it, and it looks like it's working, so there is hope. No one give up yet. At number 4, you got Steph and Ayesha Curry. The couple actually met when they were 15 and 14, but they didn't start dating until like years later, and now they have 3 beautiful kids. And they were actually just guests on Sesame Street, promoting healthy eating habits. You know, Ayesha's a cook, so that goes hand in hand. But yeah, I think that's important. You know,
Ayesha, have us out. We'd love to come out to the West Coast for a little dinner, lunch, maybe.
Sure,
you know,
Chef Curry.
We peep the game on Instagram. Looks good.
Oh yeah, it does look good. And number 3, we have JJ Watt and Kalia Ohai. JJ Watt is my favorite football player ever. My Jeep is actually named after JJ Watt. Fun fact. He was DE for the Texans, just went to the Cardinals, so I guess I'm a Cardinals fan now. Need a New Jersey dad. You heard that. Okay. They actually just got married in the Bahamas in February, and they're doing great. And they support each other like no other. Oh, yeah. They're awesome.
He reminds folks all the time that she's not just his fiance, but that she has a legitimate career and has done so much on her own.
He advocates for women's sports, too. I mean, he does remind people that don't see her as my side piece. Like, she's got her own career.
She is it. She's the mainstay.
Player.
Love
Pretty
it.
Good. At number 2, we have Drew and Brittany Breaux. I might be a little biased here, but I mean, come on. Former Saints quarterback. I hate that I have to say former. It breaks my heart. But they are a power couple. The two met at Purdue and have since had 4 kids. They dated all through college, all through all the injuries and whatever. But the kids, I will say, I've been in post-game press conferences when those kids, especially the boys, I don't think I've ever seen his daughter, Rylan, but the boys are characters. I mean,
they are running Newman School.
Yes. They are running around the press conference and just making jokes. I mean, they would have all the media cracking up in the middle of these press conferences. They are hoots. They're awesome. But, you know, Drew and Brittany are really good parents, and they're not just good parents. They're great advocates for the city of New Orleans and for all that they've done for, like, the morale.
Yeah.
And it's just, they have made a huge difference down there.
And they'll continue to do it.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're even just seeing as they're starting to move into that next phase, much like, you know, Coach Breaux moving into that. I can see them becoming ambassadors.
Yes.
You know, and I mean.
He said he's not, New Orleans is
it's home.
He's not going anywhere.
Once you drink the water, you can't go back.
That's it. And
who's number one?
Rob Gronkowski and Camille Kostick. I mean, that couple is something else. Tampa Bay Bucks tight end, a.k.a. Gronk, and Sports Illustrated model and former NFL cheerleader, Camille Kostick. She was actually in the stands having a couple beers during the Super Bowl, and she said that she and Rob made a deal that if he won another Super Bowl, they'd get a French Bulldog. So they actually did just add a new member to their family. His name is Ralphie G.
Yes.
And they love their dog so much. And actually, so Gronk is one of the most well-known players in the NFL, but not just for being a good football player, but for his personality. I mean, I don't know if you know, but a couple years ago with the Lombardi, he tried to bunt a baseball. They were at a baseball game, and he bunted a baseball, and it dented the trophy.
I'm not
He's
shocked.
no longer allowed to hold the trophy. He's no longer allowed to hold it.
I guess Gronk nor Tom Brady, because Tom likes to throw the Lombardi trophy.
Off boats.
Okay,
So,
off boats onto other
similar
boats.
pattern there. But both really great people. Camille is looked up to by a lot of women and girls because she encourages women to embrace themselves and to love themselves, flaws and all, and just go after what they want. She's got a hashtag called Never Not Dancing, and she'll post videos of her dancing anywhere, everywhere. They're just a really fun couple with good vibes and promote that good energy and encouragement.
And we need that. We need that. And
we
I actually
do.
follow the dog on Instagram because his stories and his life looks pretty interesting compared to
I would love
mine.
to be that dog for a day. Man.
Literally, right?
But, you know, I got some honorable mentions.
Of course.
Patrick Mahomes and Brittany Matthews, who just had their first kid. Alex Morgan and Servando Carrasco. Alex is one of the women who is a part of Together. And Serena Williams and Alexis Ohanian, who I just found out he was the Reddit co-founder.
Yeah.
So
He's a big dog in the tech world.
yeah, so that wraps up the 10 power couples in sports powered by Gridiron. Like I said, there were a lot, and it was so hard to pick, but this is what I got.
This is what you
So I
got.
hope everybody enjoyed it.
We got a top 10, and we're going to continue to find fun ways to keep the vibe light and to keep it fun here on the Gridiron Show. Because like we've always said, we're not just here for chalk talk. We certainly want to inspire, we want to motivate, we want to celebrate, and we want to have some fun while we're doing it. And that wraps up another edition of the Gridiron Show, another show in the books. Want to give a big thank you for everybody out there that continues to tune in and follow us on this journey. We're growing, we're learning, we're getting better every day, and sometimes we're facing obstacles that we continue to have to try to fight through and to overcome. I've been open with our team that I've been experiencing some health issues and some challenges, and but one thing that was without question was that waking up this morning and coming here was the bright spot of what I was excited and looking forward to this week. So as always, you can catch us on the Jordy Culotta Show every Wednesday for Women Crush Wednesday, where we will also tell you about what to expect on the next episode of Gridiron Show, which drops on Monday. So on behalf of Abby, Hallie, Sarah here in the room, along with Lord Courtney and the entire Jordy Culotta Show team, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Gridiron Show. Big thank you also to Coach DD Breaux for joining us. And we will be back at it again with a new episode on Monday. You guys stay great out there.